At Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, the New York Mets play the Los Angeles Dodgers. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. By Optimum. For the best offers on TV, internet, and phone, visit Optimum.com. By the State Farm agent of the game, Steve Boyle of Connecticut. Contact Steve at agentsteveboyle.com. And by Tri-State Buick. Experience the new Buick for yourself at your nearest Buick dealer. Well, the Mets' overview of Southern California is about to come to an end. It has not been an auspicious trip so far. You might even say the Mets have, well, wiped out in LA so far. But they'll try and sail their way to a win tonight before they head up the coast to San Francisco, trying to hang on to their season for dear life as the Mets finish up their series with the Dodgers. And so far, it has been a lopsided first three games. The Mets have been outscored 30-8. They've been out-homered 12-5 as the Dodgers look for their first four-game sweep of the Mets since 1979. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Los Angeles. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets wrap up their series with the Dodgers. The Dodgers have hit 12 home runs in 3 games. We've seen great performances by Corey Seager and Cody Bellinger and Justin Turner and on and on. Of these young Dodgers, who has impressed you the most?
Well, I think the guys that are most impressive are the two youngsters, Corey Seager and Cody Bellinger. They both, I think, are the new avant-garde of hitting today. They swing from their shoes, they come out of their socks. They swing to hit the ball as hard as they can and swing to lift. They are both just very impressive, and Bellinger is very impressive around that bag at first base.
Well, the task of trying to slow down the Dodgers tonight goes to left-hander Steven Matz, who made his second career start here in LA. It was a brilliant one. That was 2 years ago, and then he got hurt, and that's, of course, the challenge for Steven to stay on the mound. This will be his third start of this season.
Right, third start. His last start out, he pitched a good ball game. He gave up 4 runs, but they were by 3 home runs, and this is a season now where it's a home run heaven. So he's pitched, I think, well since coming off the DL. He's really got to pick this ball club up and put a stop to this Dodger lineup hitting all these long balls.
And in a matchup of left-handers, Hyunjin Ryu, who missed most of the last 2 seasons in a comeback year for LA.
Well, this is another guy in this rotation for the Dodgers that could get 5 innings out of him, and then they go to the bullpen. He's a left-hander, a little crafty left-hander, a little bit here, a little bit there, breaking ball here. The Mets got to get the ball spinning here and score some runs early.
Dodgers are red hot. Mets are trying to get themselves righted. Final game of the series in LA. The Mets and the Dodgers, all the action coming your way tonight on SNY. season prizes from Delta Airlines. Visit sny.tv/Delta Dugout for details. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. And by Fios by Verizon. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Visit getfios.com today. Crush home runs and dominate in your very own Derby competition in the official MLB.com Home Run Derby game on the App Store and Google Play. Swing for the fences against more than 10 million players from around the world as your favorite Derby All-Star. Download Home Run Derby for free today. Time for the unlimited baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. This afternoon, the Brewers beat the Pirates, and along the way, their closer Corey Knebel struck out a batter for the 38th straight outing to start the season. New major league record. Of course, strikeouts are prevalent in the game today. Yesterday, there were more strikeouts in Major League Baseball than on any day in Major League history. Corey Knebel now a part of history by himself. The Mets will say goodbye to Southern California after tonight's game, trying to get away with a win. Mets and Dodgers first pitches coming right up. Because Curtis Granderson had a good game against the lefty last night, so he gets another start tonight. Lucas Duda, a rare start against a lefty as well, as the Mets look to salvage the finale of this series as they take on 30-year-old Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Well, 3-6 on the year. He has had a couple relief appearances, one to be exact. Excuse me, not a couple. 11 his 12th start. Throws strikes, but he's given up long ball this year. 12 home runs. Everybody's got the disease.
Granderson 3 hits, including a leadoff home run last night, and he takes a fastball for a strike, and we're underway. Curtis last night had 3 hits off a lefty for the first time in a game since 2011. So 6 years later, not only gets the 3 hits last night, but back in the lineup against the lefty tonight. And the curveball from Ryu misses low, a ball and a strike. Ryu missed all of 2015 with a torn labrum, came back last year, made 1 start, blew out his elbow, and missed the rest of last year. So he had just 1 outing in 2 seasons. So much like Zach Wheeler, starting from scratch in 2017. This is the curveball off the plate to Granderson, 2-1.
We just saw the shot of the stadium here. This is how I remember Dodger Stadium when I played. First inning, a lot of empty seats, but sprinkled in every tier of the stadium. And by the fifth inning, fourth inning, folks, you'd look up and it was jam-packed.
Just a little more casual here in Southern California, and Granderson drives one to deep right center, and Curtis has done it again. Another leadoff home run, his second in 2 nights, his Mets record 20th in a Mets uniform. This time it took him to the 4th pitch of the game to unload, and the Mets again take a 1-0 lead. So Terry sticking with Granderson, has been swinging the bat well for the last 5 weeks, and he delivers another leadoff home run.
Fastball, inner half, more down the middle. Oh, I'm sorry, not inner half. Excuse me. That ball was supposed to be on the outside corner. That was right down the pipe. And you got to take advantage of those mistakes, and Curtis certainly did.
9th home run of the year for Granderson, his 44th career leadoff home run, and his 20th as a Met, one more than Jose Reyes. Now back in sole possession of the club record. So Ryu greeted rudely, and now Flores, and Wilmer goes after the changeup, 1-1, and that's always been Ryu's best pitch, that changeup against right-hand batters.
And Wilmer has been in a serious funk. He is down to 288 against left-handers.
Had a double last night, but just 4 for his last 36. And he fouls away the fastball, and it's 1-2. Wilmer playing third base tonight. Played first base last night. TJ Rivera on the bench after defensive struggles. And his bat has cooled down as well after a 4-hit game the other night. 1-2 coming. And the changeup down to Flores. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, the Dodgers, because of their big offensive outburst, have not been able have had the luxury of not using Kenley Jansen out of the bullpen. So they got the Colorado Rockies coming in here for a weekend series, and Jansen's going to be fresh.
Interesting that neither one of these teams has used their closer or really their back into their bullpen in this series, because all the games have been so lopsided.
Boy, you saw those numbers in the open. You folks out there, I mean, it was like the North and South Pole. Gary would say stark. I thought I'd go a different direction.
It's hard to get much more separation than the North and South Pole, unless you're talking about Venus and Mars. 2-2 to Flores with Cespedes on deck. It's worth noting that Hyun-Jin Ryu is making his 11th start of the year, and coming back off all the physical issues he's had the last couple of years. This is only the 2nd time this year he's started on regular rest. They've been able to give him at least an extra day in most of his starts, but not this one. The first time he pitched on regular rest, he got roughed up. And Wilmer able to use the emergency hack to stay in there. So interesting to see how Ryu fares tonight, coming back on regular 4 days rest. Mets haven't seen him since 2014 when he was last healthy. He was a 14-game winner each of his first 2 years in the big leagues, and 13 and 14 before the injuries. And Wilmer pops one up into shallow right. Puig comes ambling in, and that's the first out of the night.
The Dodger Coors Light defense, 13th start in left field for Gutierrez. Kiki Hernandez has played in every position this season except behind the plate and pitching. That infield, Chris Taylor, his first start at shortstop this year. He was a shortstop coming up, and Austin Barnes gets a start behind the plate.
So Corey Seager getting the night off. Last night Justin Turner got the night off, so Dave Roberts sprinkling in his reserves and giving his regulars rest here and there. Here's Cespedes, 2 for 10 in this series, and takes a curveball for a strike, 0-1. It was Cespedes who had the most lengthy conversation with Yasiel Puig last night, after Puig admired his home run a little too much for the Mets' satisfaction.
Which we up in the booth didn't think it was very egregious at all.
What was interesting was Terry Collins telling us that Cespedes was about as mad as he ever gets about Puig, which was interesting from his perspective.
Interesting. I didn't see anything to get angry over.
And he goes down on the changeup. 3 pitches, and Ryu takes care of him. 2 away. Well, this was last night. Mets were down 2-1 when Puig got a 3-1 fastball from Tyler Pill. Hit it out of the ballpark and took his time.
Well, it's borderline.
Wilmer Flores said something to him coming around first. Puig looked back, shouted an expletive at him. I mean, Wilmer was incensed after the game, and you can see how serious Cespedes was when he talked to Puig.
And d'Arnaud had a few choice words as he crossed home plate. What I don't like is the fact that they conversed during the game. You don't talk to the opposing in that fashion. You don't talk in between innings to the opposing team. That could have waited till batting practice today and let him have it.
Bruce hits the hard ground ball right at Turner, playing on the right side. That's a 5-3 putout, and that ends the inning. Mets get off to the fast start, though, on Granderson's second straight leadoff home run. 1-0 New York. One left-handed bat in the lineup against the lefty Steven Matz, and that's the red-hot Cody Bellinger, leads the National League in home runs. So Hernandez and Gutierrez and Forsythe all get starts tonight. Austin Barnes gets his first start of the series behind the plate after Yasmani Grandal hit 3 home runs the last 2 nights.
And there's the Land Rover numbers for Steven Matz. 3rd start, not too many innings pitched. Of course, he missed most of the season, but he's had 2 good starts. Like we said, the 3 home runs his last start out. He went 7 innings, gave up 4. The home runs did him in, but
that was against the Nationals Friday night.
I'd like to get the baseballs and put them under a CAT scan and see what's going on.
Logan Forsythe leads off for the Dodgers and takes the fastball high. Forsythe 3 for 9 in this series and hitting .355 against lefties this year, despite that overall low batting average. Dodgers have a bunch of guys who have really tattooed lefties right at the top of their batting order. Forsythe, Taylor, and Turner all hitting over .350 against lefties. Steven Matz should have some happy memories of this ballpark. It was here that he made his second big league start 2 years ago. Remember, he had the very successful first start, more with the bat than with the arm, against the Reds at Citi Field, and then he came out here and pitched a gem of a game. Only problem was that was the last game he pitched for 6 weeks. Remember, he came down with a lat injury that kept him out till late in the year. And a 4-pitch walk to Forsythe to start his night. Only the second walk Matz has given up this year.
Lexus Mets defense. Well, Curtis has earned his way back in that center field position. On the infield, Cicchini, surprisingly, another start here. He is getting some playing time while coming up. I wonder if scouts are looking at him. d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Mets infield will change tomorrow as Drupal Cabrera will be activated from the disabled list when the Mets get to San Francisco. And Terry Collins was talking tonight about the possibility that Cabrera might be asked to play second base. First pitch curveball misses to Chris Taylor, and Matz is yet to throw a strike. Or did he get the call on that?
I think he got the strike.
He did. Angel Hernandez with the late right arm. Hi, Angel. Chris Taylor 2 for 13 in this series. He's hitting .351 against lefties this year. And that curveball in for a strike, and it's 0-2. So for Matz, who has ditched his slider in deference to the issues he felt it caused him with his elbow issues last year, he's thrown that many more curveballs to compensate. He's thrown his curveball 25% of the time through his first 2 starts. And the fastball in there, strike 3 call. Taylor didn't think so, and that's the first out. Ball appeared like it might have been a little wide.
Number 10,
now Justin Turner, the former Met. Some scenes from Justin's Mets career. He had 1 year where he got to play regularly, had over 400 at bats, but for the most part during his 4 years as a Met, he was a part-time player and certainly did not show the kind of power that he has in a Dodger uniform. I mean, his career took a serious turn after leaving the Mets and coming to LA. 8 home runs in 4 seasons with the Mets. And an entirely different player since arriving in LA.
A late bloomer.
27 home runs last year. And he's leading the world right now with a .390 batting average. Doesn't have enough at bats to qualify for the league leadership because he missed time with a hamstring injury. And he gives a little withering glance to Angel Hernandez after that first strike. Remember, Matz pitched game 4 of the National League Division Series against the Dodgers 2 years ago. Got matched up against Clayton Kershaw. Pitched pretty well for 5 innings, but it was Turner's 2-run double that did him in a 3-1 Dodger win that sent the series out here for game 5, which the Mets then won, beating Zach Greinke. In the air to right field, and Jay Bruce settles under it. 2 out. Now time for the mini countryman player profile. Stephen Matz. There are his numbers against the Dodgers. 2 regular season starts plus that postseason start in 2015. Now he'll take on Cody Bellinger. Bellinger was held homerless last night. That was a big deal since he had hit 10 home runs in his previous 10 games. Leads the National League with 22 home runs, and he's hit 5 of them against left-handers. 5 in 46 at bats, so it's not as though he's given away much against the lefties.
.270 batting average on the year, Gary. .261 against left-handers, so he's pretty even on both sides.
22 home runs through his first 200 major league at bats, which ties the most home runs anybody's ever hit in their first 200 major league at bats. Mark McGwire had 22 in his first 200, and Bellinger the same. And a fastball in for a strike, and Matz, after a 4-pitch walk, has thrown nothing but strikes to the following 3 hitters.
92 on the gun. He's been a little up with his fastball. I'd like to see him get it down. First inning.
And that missed location badly. D'Arnaud sets up outside, and he misses up and in. 1-2. So Matt's still trying to get himself untracked. Dangerous hitter to try and fight through mistakes against. Again, D'Arnaud sets up outside. And the fastball on the corner, strike 3 called. So Matz comes back after the leadoff walk to get the next 3 with a couple of strikeouts. After 1 in LA, 1-0 New York. The Giants are next on the agenda, starting tomorrow night in San Francisco. Giants 20 games under 500. They've lost 10 of 12 going into their game tonight in Atlanta. And the Mets are in Miami and then home to play the Phillies. So the Mets, after playing some top-notch teams, the Nationals and the Dodgers, get more of a soft schedule over the next couple of weeks. That game in Atlanta was delayed significantly by rain. Here it is, almost 10:30 in the East, and they just finished the 4th inning, and the Giants have to fly home after that game to play the Mets tomorrow night. Chris Taylor gets his first chance at shortstop and throws out Travis d'Arnaud one away. Taylor playing shortstop as a starter for the first time this year. Came up as a shortstop with the Mariners, giving Corey Seager the night off.
This Dodger team here under Dave Roberts is much like what the Cubs had last year, that formula of mixing and matching a lot of players that played a lot of different positions. Kiki Hernandez, of course, comes to mind. He's played everything but pitcher and catcher. You've got Forsythe that you can move around the infield and move him into the outfield. Taylor now is another example.
Lucas Duda takes a strike. I mean, it used to be in the days of the 10-man pitching staff that you had a 7-man bench. Now a lot of teams have a 5 or even a 4-man bench.
Right. So you would think with a 7-man bench, it's much more difficult for a manager to keep them sharp. There's more players, obviously, to get out there and play. With a 4-man bench, I think it's a little bit easier to mix them in and out of the lineup. But I agree with what Ron Say said yesterday. It takes away from the continuity of the team. You know, usually you got your 8 starters. Okay, you may have platoons. You know, the '86 team, the '80s, we had Wally and Tuffle that platooned. Mookie and Lenny, that works. But you got to have your core has got to be out there pretty much every day.
Duda lays off and stop the swing 2-2. But I would think with the 4- and 5-man benches, it makes the kind of versatility that a guy like Kiki Hernandez has, that super utility player, makes that even more important.
Yes, well, it's like being a left-hand pitcher, reliever. You know, you can stay in the big leagues if you have versatility with the shorter benches. Absolutely.
Just off the plate to Duda, 3-2. Well, second straight night we have seen the Nats being waved away by players. Nats are not making their way to the broadcast booth, I'm happy to say, but clearly it's an issue down closer to the field. Duda trying to fight his way out of a slump. 0 for 4 in this series, and he lays off ball 4. Good turn at bat there for Duda to work his way out of a deficit and into a walk. And the Mets have a 1-out base runner.
One game in St. Louis, I forget the year, Gary. It was a night game, and we had all of a sudden a deluge. The stadium was deluged with moths. They were everywhere and attracted to the light, obviously. And I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. They were everywhere for around 3 innings, and then they disappeared.
Here's Jose Reyes, hitless in his last 8 at bats, and he takes a strike. Well, remember the postseason game in Cleveland when Jabba Chamberlain got attacked by the midges?
Yes.
That was, pardon the expression, that was gross. It is not shocking to see Reyes struggling after hitting a couple of home runs on Monday night against Clayton Kershaw. We've watched Reyes for more than a decade, and this has been a recurring pattern with him. When he hits a home run or two, all of a sudden he gets in home run mode and the faucet gets turned off. That sneaks away from Barnes, trying for second. Duda, Barnes' quick throw not in time. Duda quickly to second base on the short wild pitch. Nice base running for Lucas.
Lucas on his toes. Uh-oh. Come off on your toes. There you go. You're ready to move either way, left or right. Well done.
So the Mets have a runner in scoring position with 1 out, and now Reyes hammers one foul, and it's 2-2. Gavin Cecchini hitting 8th in the order again tonight, waiting on deck. 2-2 to Reyes, and he bounces one over the bag, just off the glove of Turner, trickling into foul ground. Duda will stop at third. Reyes takes a turn at first. He'll hold there. So an infield single for Reyes, and the Mets have runners at the corners with one out.
Well, this had double written all over it. It was minimum second and third, one out. Nice play by Turner, getting the glove on it. Turner likes to play off the line. Nice effort there. Just didn't quite get there.
So the Mets up 1-0 in the second, and a scoring chance here. First and third and one out, and Gavin Cecchini the batter. And a curveball misses badly from Ryu. Ball one. Cecchini 3 for 11 since his call up, most of that in this series, making his fourth start. Mets last night were 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. They're 1 for 1 so far tonight. It's a good trend. And Cecchini gets one in the air to left center field. Tagging at third is Duda. It's not all that deep. Over comes Hernandez to get it. Here comes Duda. The throw to the plate on a hop. Barnes is there to make the tag. Side retired. Perfect throw by Kike Hernandez, who came way over into left center field. Had his momentum coming home and made a perfect one-hop strike to complete the 8-2 double play.
Well, the center fielder wanted the ball, and he called off Gutierrez and throws a strike. One hop, perfect for the catcher. That is a fine throw.
The Mets are holding, thinking they might challenge that the plate was blocked prematurely. And we've yet to get a decision as to whether they're going to. And Dick Scott shaking his head, and the Mets will call off the jam. No challenge. Kike Hernandez, who made that throw from center field to take away a Mets run, leads off for the Dodgers in the home second. Hernandez 0 for 7 in this series. Starting for the second time. Played right field on Monday night. Came off the bench the last two nights. And the curveball drilled down the left field line, foul. Let's go back to that throw and the play at the plate and where the catcher Barnes was.
Good momentum going forward, and it's a nice one hop for the catcher. And he is straddling the plate, Gary.
I mean, he's got his
right
foot
there.
blocking part of the plate before he gets the ball, which technically is against the rule. The question is, And we go back to the first year of that rule as Matz strikes out Hernandez for the first out. There were plays like that in the first year that the rule was on the books were ruled against the catcher and calls were overturned. But because there was so much distance between Duda and the plate when Barnes got the ball, it's not something that they've been calling the last couple of years.
So we had a discussion about this. The guy could be 20 feet away from halfway down the third base line, but if the catcher's straddling home plate, he's out by a mile, but he's going to be safe because of interference, and that's wrong.
Right.
I think that's what the situation is there.
And I think that's why the Mets didn't challenge the call, because I think if the replay officials look at that, they would probably feel as though it didn't have any impact on the play, even though technically Barnes had his foot blocking the plate prematurely. Franklin Gutierrez, the batter. Gutierrez playing left field, his first start in this series.
To me, that would be considered a close play. The runner would be safe because he's blocking the play. Garrett, do you agree?
Without question.
Without question.
Before he has the ball.
Right. Now, if he's inside the line and the ball comes on the outside of the line, the catcher has the right to come across home plate to catch the ball.
Sure.
Right.
And he can block the plate when he has the ball.
Right.
He just can't do it before he has the ball. 2-2 coming, and Gutierrez fouls it off. Franklin Gutierrez at one time considered maybe the best defensive outfielder in baseball, won a Gold Glove with Seattle, but then he started to have all sorts of physical problems. He had intestinal issues. Then he was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, which is a nerve condition in your back, something that plagued Rico Brogna during his big league career. And so it has diminished his effectiveness and not allowed him to play every day. Yet he's been able to continue his career, and here at age 34, coming off the bench for the Dodgers.
Is that affliction? Is it neural, Garrett? Or?
It's a nerve thing that I know with Rico. He had to do special exercises every day. It affected his back and eventually forced him to retire prematurely. But he did play with it for a few years before he had to shut it down. In fact, memory serves, Brogna had a 100 RBI season with the Phillies even after he was diagnosed with that condition. Bounce toward the hole. Reyes on the backhand. Plenty of time, and he throws out Gutierrez 2 away. So Matz has retired 5 in a row after a leadoff walk in the first. And now Austin Barnes. Barnes 1 for 2 in this series, getting his first start, his 20th start of the season. Yasmani Grandal, the regular catcher, having a terrific series. 3 home runs in the last 2 nights. But getting the night off tonight, as Keith mentioned, the Rockies are coming in here this weekend for a big series. Rockies just lost 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, and they got pasted again today, 16-5 last night, and then 10-3 this afternoon. So Arizona drawing even with the Rockies in the standings. Right now the Dodgers with a 1-game lead over both. But that is quite a 3-way affair, and it continues here tomorrow night. 2-1. The Diamondbacks. Have you seen the numbers Paul Goldschmidt's putting up right now?
He's red hot.
Today he homered and drove in 4. He's now hitting .335, 18 homers, and 64 runs driven in.
Wow.
And it's not even the end of June. I mean, he's on a pace for 140 RBIs. 2-1 from Matz to Barnes, and that's on the corner. 2-2. It comes inside at 94 miles an hour, and it's 3-2. Yasiel Puig would be next, hitting 8th in the order again tonight. 3-2 coming to Barnes, and he walked him. Second walk given up to Matz, and so Puig will come up. Now, if you're wondering about carryover from last night, I mean, twice last night, Puig came to bat after his posing at home plate annoyed the Mets to the point that they had many discussions with him, and they did not throw anything even close to him.
I don't think in today's game they're not going to do anything, so it's over and done with.
Now, earlier in this series, Robert Gazelman dusted Puig off after he was getting knocked around in the first inning.
And I wonder if that was intentional.
Don't know. That's bounces one in. Darno can't find it, and down to second base goes Barnes on the wild pitch. And now they may just walk Puig.
Why not? Yes, they are.
And so the Mets will send Puig to first base with an intentional walk.
Abracadabra. Still can't get used to that intentional pass.
You know, I was reading something today. Somebody was writing a story about the no pitch intentional walk, and what I didn't think about is the impact that it might have on the following hitter, right? Because a hitter comes to bat in a spot with a runner with first base open, and the next guy now is immediately at home plate without having time to really prepare himself for his at bat. Would that have an impact on you as a hitter, not having that moment in the on deck circle to get yourself ready when they send the guy in front of you to first base?
I got to think on that for a bit, Gary. I'm trying to get the time frame here.
I mean, you're in the hole, right?
So you're in the dugout. You're in the dugout, right?
And the guy who's on deck goes to the plate. They immediately send him to first base before you've even settled yourself into the on deck circle.
I would make sure that I get good and loose. You know, get that donut in the bat and do what's necessary. The pine tar, rosin. You know, and I would make sure that I was able to do what I needed to do.
So what you're saying is that with something that Major League Baseball put in designed to speed up the game, you would slow things down a little bit.
I would not rush my at bat, and I wouldn't take that long. And if the umpire rushed me, I'd be hot. I'd be hot under the collar. So that's something I didn't think of. That's very interesting.
Right? I mean,
I never thought of that.
Unintended consequences, right? And especially, I would think this year, because people aren't really used to it yet. Now, in coming years, when it becomes more second nature, maybe hitters will be a little more prepared because they know it's coming. Ryu hits one toward the middle. Reyes runs it down, gets the force at second. Nice play. Side retired. Reyes sharply to his left and gets away a nice throw to Cicchini to get the force on Puig to end the inning. That keeps the Dodgers off the board in the second. Reyes makes the play to keep the Mets up 1-0. close to Dodger Stadium, just a 5-minute ride away. Well, without traffic.
Well, what's good about staying downtown is you don't have to get on the freeways. You can get right on, go over the overpass, over the freeways, exit downtown, make the right-hand turn to Sunset Boulevard, and then within, folks, about 2 miles, you make a right on Vin Scully Drive.
Used to be Elysian Park Avenue, and now it is named after the longtime Dodger broadcaster and iconic figure. And there you see the proximity between downtown and the ballpark. It is somewhat amazing when you think about how valuable that real estate is and was when Walter O'Malley made the deal to move out here. Carved out that ballpark into the hills of Chavez Ravine, the old goat pasture, and created a real gem that is now in its 56th year of use.
The complete opposite of what Mayor Christopher in San Francisco did to entice Horace Stonham's New York Giants to San Francisco in Candlestick Park. It was a complete
boondoggle.
Yes, it was. Snake oil salesman.
Well, the Giants got the last laugh because they now have as pretty a ballpark as exists in baseball.
Candlestick Park was set on an old dump site, and they brought out Horace Stoneham in the morning.
9 o'clock in the morning, before the wind started blowing.
Before the wind started, never in the afternoon. Mayor Christopher, who was the mayor then, well, is there any surprise here? One of his cronies owned the property, and it was a dump. Well, guess what that property value was for that guy? Taking care of your own.
Just a little low. 1-2 to Matz, who's 2 for 6 at the plate this year. Lifetime 196 hitter. Curtis Granderson, who has already delivered the keynote for the 2nd straight night, waiting on deck. Problem last night is the Mets got Granderson's first inning home run, then didn't score again until 2 out of the 9th. He could use a little more boost tonight. Curveball, and Ryu has a strikeout, his 2nd of the night. 1 out and nobody on. Let's check out tonight's Verizon trivia question. Who was the World Series MVP for the Dodgers when they won their first World Series in Los Angeles? Only their 2nd year out here in 1959 when they beat the Go-Go Sox. You know this one?
No, I do not.
I do not either. I mean, I could make some guesses, but I don't know. Here's Curtis Granderson, hit his 9th home run of the year first time up, his 2nd straight leadoff home run, and he takes the fastball out of the strike zone for ball 1. Curtis now 4 for 7 in this series with a double and 2 home runs. So after the game plan was that Curtis was going to be the odd man out in the Mets outfield rotation with the return of Cespedes, Terry Collins playing Granderson and sitting Conforto for the 2nd straight night. And a curveball for a strike. And while Granderson has been on his best streak of the season, Conforto has hit a cold spell over the last few weeks. And at a time when the Mets are desperate for wins, Terry's going to play whoever is swinging the bat well.
Well, that's what he's been doing the last 2.5, 3 weeks.
I mean, it's very easy to say that for the long term, Conforto needs to play every day. But for the short term, this team needs whoever can help them win on a daily basis.
It's a little unsettling for a hitter to know that it's okay. If I go take a couple offers, I may not be in there. Not so much Curtis. Curtis is the veteran, is going to be able to handle it better. But for young Michael Conforto, it's difficult for a young kid who's chomping at the bit and wants to play every day. And I think he needs to get the experience. The only way you're going to learn and break out of slumps, and he's going to break out of this slump, is to break out of a slump. And that means being in the lineup.
Curtis drives another one deep right center, headed back toward the wall, and it's off the base of the wall. Granderson racing for 2nd, and he gets there safely with his 2nd extra base hit of the night. And all of a sudden, Curtis Granderson is red hot. 2 extra base hits last night and 2 in his first 2 at bats tonight.
Fastball down. Not a bad pitch. Tip your hat to Curtis.
He's amazing, Keith. Every year it goes this way. Early in the season, he gets himself out repeatedly, and then as the weather warms up, he's an entirely different hitter.
He's incredibly streaky hitter, Gary.
I mean, the last 3 years, April has been awful for Curtis. This year, his troubles stretched well into May. But over the last month, he has swung the bat as well as anybody in the lineup. That was his 16th double of the year, and now Flores takes the fastball inside, 1-1. Wilmer flied out to right his first time up. Hyunjin Ryu has given up 3 hits. 2 of the 3 to Granderson, the left-hand hitter, and it's noteworthy that the lefties have been clubbing Ryu all season. Well inside to Flores. In fact, coming into the night, they were hitting .353 against him.
With 5 home runs, and anytime you see that, you see a right-hander having difficulty with a left-hander, a right-hander and lefty, to me it means the quality of the breaking ball is not good.
Well, his best pitch is his changeup, which gets negated a bit against the righties, against the lefties, excuse me. 3-1 now to Flores. You see the comparison. Again, though, this is a return year for Ryu after missing virtually the entire last 2 seasons. And it's really reflected in his results. It's on the corner, 3-2 to Wilmer.
What is this?
I don't know.
I haven't the foggiest notion.
Looks like he was saluting the Dodger outfielders. Very strange. 3-2 coming, and Wilmer grounds it right at Taylor. Runner holds, 2 out. So 2 away. Granderson still at second. Flores' troubles continue.
Do you pitch around Cespedes, who has been struggling a tad, although he finished with a bang in that homestand?
You know, if it weren't for the fact that Ryu struggles so badly against left-hand hitters, I think you'd walk him here and bring up the lefty, but given the splits for Ryu, I would think he'd have to go after Cespedes, whom he struck out on 3 pitches his first time up.
2 for 12 in this series. Yoenis.
Granderson at second with 2 down. And Cespedes lays off the curveball, ball 1.
These are the kind of at-bats that he thrives on, and what are those? RBI situations. He's a much tougher out when men are on base. It's a sign of a true clutch hitter, RBI guy. You have to want to hit every at-bat, all 4 at-bats with men on base.
One and one.
It's a very relaxed crowd tonight at Dodger Stadium. Early. They gave him a lot of early fireworks the first 2 games.
This is a crowd that responds to stimulus. They're not going to make a spontaneous wave of noise unless they're doing the wave. Grounded toward the middle of the diamond. Taylor to his left and throws out Cespedes, and that retires the side. Ryu works around the Granderson double. Keeps it 1-0 New York in the 3rd. Company to Citi Field Saturday, June 24th. Grateful Dead members Mickey Hart, Bill Kreutzmann, and Bob Weir, along with John Mayer, take the stage again as Dead & Company. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Dead & Company. All is peaceful on the beach. Second time through the batting order for Steven Matz. Logan Forsythe leads off in the home third. Forsythe walked on 4 pitches his first time up. One of 2 unintentional walks for Matz, who's also issued an intentional pass. No hits as yet. And Forsythe takes a curveball for a strike. 1-1. Chris Taylor on deck. Then Justin Turner for the Dodgers in the third against Matz, making his 3rd start of the season. The Dodgers have won 6 in a row, 12 of their last 13. And they are now 28-10 at home. 2-2 now to Forsythe.
They just don't. The players today, and I can't blame them, because they stopped calling the high strike. Angel Hernandez is calling the high strike, and they're moaning and groaning. It's just like Tishner in the first game. When Tishner was behind the plate, strike 3 and a high fastball. When Tishner was behind the dish, I'm not playing. I don't know these umpires that well. I can tell in 2 innings what the tendencies of the umpire is. Tishner was a low ball umpire. Anything borderline knees was going to be a strike. So you make that, okay, you put that in the head when you go up there and you rest of your at bats, and you realize that. And it's just the reverse here with the high pitch with Angel Hernandez. Swing at it. It's a great pitch to head up there.
Well, the problem is that the way so many hitters' swings are tailored now, that high pitch is less of a hittable pitch.
Exactly.
And I think that a high ball umpire really plays into a pitcher's hands these days.
You are absolutely right. And I've said it on the air before that I think pitchers are going to start pitching more upstairs. Before, it used to be the hard throwers, the Don Gullets, Pedro Martinez could do it. Tom Seaver could throw upstairs. Woody Fryman. I know I'm not being contemporary here, but I am not in the batter's box against these contemporary pitchers. Those are I'm relating my at bats. The guys that could pitch upstairs. They'd have a field day today.
1-2 to Taylor, and the curveball dribbled back to Matz. And Steven makes the play for the second out. Well, if you'll recall, when Rick Peterson was the Mets pitching coach, in spring training, when the pitchers were doing their side work, they would set a little string at the knee-high level for the pitchers to try and hit. And he called it the 190 line. That's out the window now. And that's how pitchers have been taught for years, right? To pitch low in the strike zone, to pitch at the knees. That is not necessarily a winning formula, the way hitters are now tailoring their swing.
Agreed. Now, nothing in the game changes, Gary, and not to belabor a point, but if you're a sinker ball pitcher, you can't pitch upstairs. You've got to pitch on the knees. If your sinker is going to flatten out, you better have a 2-seamer that's straight, or a 4-seamer, excuse me, where you can throw that dart upstairs inside. But if you're a sinker ball pitcher, you've got to keep the ball down. The guys with the good high riding fastballs, but then again, their walk ratio may be up too because the umpire's not calling that a strike.
Turner drives one to deep left field. Forget that. Way back in the pavilion. Justin Turner with his 2nd home run in this series and his 5th of the year. And that ties the game at 1. The Dodgers' 13th home run in this 4-game series. Nats gave up 3 home runs in his last start against the Nats, and now Turner with a no-doubter to tie the game.
We're talking about, there's a low pitch right there, Gary. Actually, that's low, and that swing is right grooved for it. And Turner always had the big, that's like Darryl Strawberry right there with that big leg kick.
And that was Marlon Byrd who taught him that leg kick before he left the Mets, and he took that to LA and has turned himself into one of the best hitters in the game. There's Cody Bellinger. The changeup misses 1-1.
Well, he knew it. Okay.
Well, that certainly was a look.
It looked like the lost weekend with Ray Milland.
Here's the full reaction.
Yeah, you know it right away. You're not even going to look at it. Well, I'll take a peek.
And Bellinger drives one toward the right field corner, and it lands and hops into the stands for a ground rule double. A little too much topspin on that one for Bellinger as he took aim at the short fence in right field, but he settles for his 12th double of the year.
Well, you got that short right field porch and the very low fence. 330 is not normal, but the low fence. What is that around a 5-foot fence, 6-foot fence max?
Less than that. I think it's about 4.
Another full swing from the youngster. The big follow-throughs are off the charts.
So the first 2 hits Matz is allowed. Ringing extra base hits from Turner and Bellinger, and now Kike Hernandez, who struck out his first time up. And the curveball hit out to right, chasing back Bruce near the wall. It's out of here. Kike Hernandez with an opposite field 2-run homer. The Dodgers have tied a club record with their 14th home run in the series, and LA leads it 3-1. A sudden barrage against Steven Matz. In a stretch of 6 pitches, home run, double home run, and Terry Collins going to come out himself to have a word with Matz. The home runs have been raining down on Mets pitchers this entire series, and Terry is flat out sick of it.
Well, he's right on that curveball, but this is getting to be the theater of the absurd. You got to look at this one because it's like opposite field, and he's not a home run hitter.
We're seeing this all the time now. Guys who are not home run hitters hitting opposite field home runs. This one's hit toward the corner by Gutierrez. Back near the wall goes Bruce to make the catch, and the inning finally comes to an end. But home runs from Justin Turner and Kike Hernandez running the Dodgers home run ledger in this series to 14. They lead 3-1 after 3. Sunset, our last in Southern California. Mets will be heading up the coast after the game tonight.
Yeah, we'll get a little different one up there in Northern California. A little chillier.
Terry Collins watching the home runs fly out of Dodger Stadium in this series. Jay Bruce leads off in the fourth. Hyun-Jin Ryu now with a 3-1 lead. The Dodgers with 14 home runs in this series, tying a club record that they set at Coors Field in 1997 when they hit 14 home runs in a 4-game series. The major league record for home runs in a series is 17. Bruce pops one up behind second base. Turner playing over there. That's a put out to the third baseman. One away. The record for home runs in a series was set in 1884.
You wouldn't think that. In
a 6-game series that the Cubs had against the Buffalo Bison. So we'll throw that one out. But then the Minnesota Twins in a 4-game series in 1963 against the Washington Senators hit 17 home runs. So that's the modern record.
And that would have been the day, 63, the day of Tony Oliva, Harmon Killebrew, Bobby Allison, those Don Mincher, those power hitting Twinkies that lost in what? They lost in 65?
65, lost the 7-game series to the Dodgers.
To the Dodgers. Koufax on 2 days rest. Bested Jim Cott in game 7.
Travis d'Arnaud grounded out his first time up and chases a fastball out of the strike zone. 0-2. Well, if you think it's just here, it's not. In Atlanta tonight, the Braves have hit 4 home runs and the Giants have hit 2, and they're only in the 5th inning. It's 11-6 Atlanta. Check swing, and he held it in time. 1-2. The 14 home runs that the Mets have allowed in this series matches the most the Mets have ever given up in a series. But with a small asterisk, because the first time they gave up 14 home runs in a series, it was in a 3-game series at Tiger Stadium in 1997. I remember something very vividly about that series. Outside 2-2. Bobby Higginson, remember him, the outfielder for the Tigers? Over the course of 2 games, homered in 4 straight at bats. And then he came up the next at bat with a chance to become the first player in history to hit 5 home runs in 5 at bats. And he took a call third strike.
Oh boy. Well, you know what?
Chance missed.
Well, maybe he said, I'm going to look for a breaking ball. We don't know what the pitch was. You know, if he took a fastball, maybe he thought a curveball was coming and now we're going to wail. He just rolled the dice and he came up snake eyes.
You got to go down swinging.
Snake eyes.
3-2 coming to d'Arnaud. And Travis gets a hold of one to left center. Back in the gap goes Gutierrez. Back near the wall. And it's out of here. Travis d'Arnaud gets one up in the air. And it flies out for his 8th home run of the year. And it cuts the Dodger lead to 3-2. So the Southern Californian Travis d'Arnaud comes back home. He's had himself a good series. His 3rd hit in 8 at bats. And a home run to get the Mets back to within a run.
Was that a changeup? And up and out over the strike zone. 8th home run. 3rd off left-handers. Of the 12 hits that d'Arnaud has got off left-handers this year, that is his 7th extra base hit. This one's up in the strike zone. Belt high, out over the plate, stays back nicely.
You know, it was at a different ballpark here in this city. A ballpark known as Wrigley Field, not the Wrigley Field in Chicago, but Old Wrigley Field in Los Angeles, where Mark Scott hosted a TV show called Home Run Derby back in the early 60s. All of baseball is becoming Home Run Derby.
It's like the All-Star break when they have the Home Run Derby. It's almost I'm not going to relent on this.
2-2 to Duda. Lucas walked, tried to score from third on a fly ball to center field, and got thrown out at the plate in the second inning. Mets have hit solo home runs tonight. Granderson and d'Arnaud. Dodgers have hit 2 home runs for their 3 runs. Turner and Hernandez. We're in the 4th inning. Mets have now hit 7 home runs in this series, so there have been 21 home runs hit in 3.5 games at Dodger Stadium. All night games. Stadium that has always been known for its pitcher friendliness. And the curveball strikes out Duda, and that's the 3rd strikeout for Ryu. Of course, the byproduct of all the home runs has been the concurrent proliferation of strikeouts. Last night the Mets struck out 15 times. And in baseball yesterday, across the major leagues, there were 290 strikeouts in 15 games. 19.3 strikeouts per game, the most ever on any day in the history of Major League Baseball. So the home runs continue to set records. The strikeouts continue to set records. Balls in play, not so much. Reyes had a base hit off the glove of Turner at third base his first time up. And Jose takes a strike on the outside, 1-1. Bounce toward the hole on the backhand. Taylor makes the long throw high, and Bellinger does a great job of staying on the bag. Boy, Bellinger has really shown off not only with his home run bat, but with his defense in this series, and he makes another fine play to save Taylor an error. Three-2 Dodgers in the 4th. Home 4th inning. Austin Barnes leads off against Steven Matz. Looking to bounce back after giving up 2 home runs in the 3rd inning. Barnes drew a walk his first time up. And Matz gets the changeup over for a strike, 1-1. Mets 2 runs, 4 hits. The Dodgers 3 runs, 3 hits. 4 home runs in this game, accounting for all the scoring. Yasiel Puig on deck. And the changeup fouled off 1-2. Watch this play by Bellinger again.
Well, he needed all 6'4" to make this play. Beautiful footwork. Look how he crisscrossed over. He shifted. Look at his foot. He shifted over to the other foot. That's sweet.
Did almost get stepped on by Reyes.
You definitely want to be a little more over on the other side, but you don't see that a lot. That kind of a shuffle over and a transfer. I love it. Very nice. Very impressive. Those were the drills I had as a kid with my father as a youngster. Going over the bag like that, skipping like this, switching feet, and going back the other direction. That is fine footwork, except for he almost got stepped on. That's the only thing I can criticize.
Ball 4 to Barnes. Second time he's walked tonight, and that's 4 walks now for Matz.
66.
What's the best way for him to avoid getting stepped on? Does he have to drag that foot further to the outside of the bag?
Your focus is on the ball. It's not easy, but I think all first basemen are aware of one thing. You don't want to get your foot over the middle of the bag, get stepped on, and break your ankle, have your ankle broken. So you're very aware of the corners of the bag.
Barnes takes off. Throw by d'Arnaud. Too late. Barnes got a great jump and picks up his 3rd stolen base of the year.
Barnes runs well, huh?
Well, he's a catcher who can play the infield as well. May not be the fastest catcher in the league. I think JT Realmuto probably has that nailed down. So Barnes in scoring position with nobody out. Puig, who was intentionally walked his first time up, as Barnes dances off second, and a grounder back to Matz, freezes the runner and gets the out, 1 away. So 1 away now. Ryu, who hit into a fielder's choice to end the second inning. Do you remember a game out here a number of years ago? I don't think you were here. Maybe it was Ronnie. And the Dodgers hit 3 straight home runs against John Maine. There goes Barnes stealing third. d'Arnaud's throw, a good one, but he's safe. So Barnes steals second, and Barnes steals third with the pitcher at the plate.
Jeez. The Mets have been guilty of not paying enough attention to base runners, and that, I mean, well, Cecchini was close to him. It's Matz here at fault. And let's see the play. He got it. He beat it.
Now the Mets will bring the infield in with Barnes at third and 1 out. A 2-0 count to Ryu. Ryu, not a bad hitter. Lifetime 180. And now Matz behind him, 3-0. I was going to say the Dodgers hit 3 straight home runs off John Maine. The last one was by the pitcher, Hong-Chi Kuo, and he flipped the bat.
Oh, I remember
that one?
Yes.
It's strike 3-1. Just thinking about home runs at Dodger Stadium and how, you know, this is not a great home run hitter's ballpark, but that was the bottom third of the order, hitting 3 straight home runs. Line the other way, and Ryu gets it just foul. Just faded away at the last moment. Close to his first RBI of the season. So Matt's in a spot where he needs a strikeout. Steven has already struck out 4 tonight, but he's walked 4, which has put him in trouble. walks and the home runs. That's on the outside corner, and Ryu is caught looking for the second out. So an important strikeout for Matz, and now the infield can back up with two away. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. World Series MVP 1959.
Oh,
Larry Sherry. Larry Sherry, terrific relief pitcher. The brother of catcher Norm Sherry.
Look that up. Get see what kind of series he had. I'm
Larry
very
Sherry.
curious.
The White Sox won the first game, and then Sherry had saves in game 2 and 3, and then won game 4 in relief of Roger Craig. And then in game 6 he went 5 2/3 scoreless innings in relief of Johnny Padres and became the winning pitcher in the deciding game. So yeah, he had a pretty good series.
Yes, he did. They were playing back. Did they play in the Coliseum in '59?
Yes.
Yes.
The first 4 years out here they played in the Coliseum.
When that was the short left field fence, correct?
Where Wally Moon hit his moon shots. Little pop flies over the left field fence. 2-0 to Forsythe with a runner at third and 2 out, and he takes a strike. After the Dodgers won the World Series, Larry Sherry got to go on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he said years later that he had to go out and buy a suit because he didn't own one, so he could go on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's one of the perks of being a World Series hero. Got to talk to Ed. Check swing, and Forsythe takes the changeup for a strike, and it's 3-2. And Forsythe drives one to left, but Cespedes comes in and snags it, and that retires the side. So a walk, a couple of steals, but Matt's able to get out of it and keep it a one-run game after 4.
The time, 1960. In a healthy United States, a pocket of gloom, disaster. The place is Brooklyn. The occasion, farewell to Ebbets Field.
Love the wrecking ball decorated as a baseball that they used to knock down Ebbets Field.
Almost like a double painful insult there. I know a lot of Brooklyn people were in tears.
It was a few years after the Dodgers left that they finally put the wrecking ball to Ebbets Field. They left after the 57 season. They didn't knock it down until 1960. And of course, they left the Polo Grounds standing, the place where the Giants had played, which would become the temporary home of the Mets their first 2 seasons in 62 and 63.
When did they tear down the Polo Grounds?
I think shortly after the Mets left there. I don't know exactly when.
It was on Coogan's Bluff, correct?
Right. There are apartments at Coogan's Bluff, much as there are at the old site of Ebbets Field. Well, big cut by Cicchini, 2-1. Well, they wheeled Roy Campanella out for one more look before they knocked the place down.
Yeah.
A couple of years after the auto accident that took away the use of his legs. Never got to play in L.A. I think it was January of '58 that he suffered his automobile accident and was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. 3-time MVP. 3-1 to Cicchini, who had a fly ball into a double play his first time and fouls off the fastball from Ryu. 3-2. Steven Matz on deck. Cicchini getting a chance to play for a few days, but it's more than likely that he'll be back in Vegas tomorrow when the Mets activate Asdrubal Cabrera, who is due to meet the Mets in San Francisco and be in the lineup tomorrow night. That's lined and into left field, a base hit for Cicchini. So Gavin has his 4th hit in 13 at bats, and he's aboard to lead off the 5th.
Got a nice high fastball down the pipe, and he stays nice and level. Look at that. It was a good pitch to hit, nice and level.
So now Matz can go up there and bunt him over. Stevens struck out his first time up, tying run at first with nobody out. And Matz giving himself up as the throw goes to first. Almost didn't get there. Turner creeping in from third, and Matz fouls it off. Turner being a little tentative on his charge because he knows that Steven can swing the bat. And the last thing Justin wants is to lose some teeth on a line drive.
Or get one in your forehead, get a concussion.
And Matz gets the bunt down. Nicely done. Ryu throws him out. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Cicchini to second. Time for the quote of the game, brought to you by Investors Bank, banking in your best interest. It comes from Tommy Lasorda. If you don't love the Dodgers, there's a good chance you might not get into heaven. Well, that's a theological view on Tommy's part, but I think it has more to do with blue than heaven.
I think Tommy's overstepped his bounds.
It's a little above his pay grade is what you're trying to say.
A little higher authority.
So now Granderson, who's already had a big night with a home run and a double, tying run at second with 1 out. And a first pitch curveball in for a strike, 0-1. Granderson's home run was his 9th of the year, his 20th leadoff home run as a Met, the most in Mets history, and the 44th leadoff home run of his career. And he doubled to the base of the wall in right center his second time up. And Ryu misses outside, a ball and a strike. High speed pitch brought to you by Spectrum.
No one's knocking the ceilings in tonight.
Well, you always told me 92 is good enough.
It's plenty. It's all relative. I mean, what is 92 today? What the old gun tomorrow? They've changed the gun now, right? They say they're more accurate. So in what way were they inaccurate? Were they inaccurate on the negative side or inaccurate on the positive side?
What is hip today may soon be passé.
That's right.
Two and 1 to Granderson. And Curtis takes up and in, and now Ryu behind 3-1. Wilmer Flores waiting on deck. Ryu has handled the two right-hand bats of Flores and Cespedes just fine so far tonight, but had trouble with Granderson. So we'll see what he offers here on 3-1 with first base open. And he bounces one in the dirt. Trickles away from Barnes, but not far enough for Cicchini to make a move. Granderson, meanwhile, on base for the third time tonight. Second walk given up by Ryu, and 2 men aboard for Flores.
Very seldom do you see a pitcher give in, a left-hand pitcher give in to a left-hand hitter. And you just saw it right there. You want nothing to do with Curtis. Curtis has won the mental battle in this game.
So now 2 aboard for Flores. Cicchini at second, Granderson at first. Wilmer's 0 for 2 tonight, 4 for his last 38, and what's been most troubling is the way he's tailed off against the lefties. And a check swing foul on a ball up and in. I mean, for a season and a half, Wilmer was eating lefties for lunch.
I ate him last year too. Oh, well, season and a half. You're right. So all it takes, Gary, is one little swing to break out of the slump, and he'll get right back on track.
This would be a good spot for it.
It would be a wonderful spot for it. The Mets are in dire need of a W.
And Ryu quickly ahead 0-2, facing the Mets for the third time through the batting order, where he has struggled so far this year.
Well, he's a 5-inning pitcher. It's good work if you can get it. You just got to make sure he doesn't get in there and eat all the food, the post game food, and the beverages. All the pitchers.
Well, do they put the food spread out before the game is over?
You can go into the back room and chow and get into the players' food. It's happened. Extra inning games.
But I mean, it's not like the old days. They don't run out of food after the game.
That's right. I am not being contemporary, and I'm sure that they're
now,
stocked.
Now that every team has their own personal dietary consultant in the clubhouse, home and road.
Home and road.
It's a new era, Keith.
It's fine. I think the players should be.
Double play ball. Taylor to Forsythe. 6-4-3 double play. And the Mets are turned aside. And Wilmer's woes continue. So do Terry's. 6-4-3, easy as they come. Halfway through, 3-2 LA. The Mets take on the Phillies at 4:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive an Asdrubal Cabrera bobblehead courtesy of Citi. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Home fifth inning. Chris Taylor leads off against Steven Matz and takes a big rip. Taylor's 0 for 2 tonight, 2 for 15 in this series. So the Mets have cooled him down a bit.
He's hit a home run in this series, has he not?
He has. Hasn't everybody?
No.
Dodgers have hit 14 home runs in this series. The Mets have hit 7. Two of those home runs tonight against Matz by Turner and Hernandez in the third have the Dodgers in front.
Whoa!
A little bit high.
That got away.
Almost hit the Bull mascot. One-two coming. And Taylor just got a piece of the curveball. Matz has struck out 5 tonight, but he's walked 4.
Too many walks. 1 intentional, but the 3 unintentional walks. Too many for him.
So that has driven up his pitch count. And he strikes out Taylor for the second time. 6 strikeouts for Steven, 1 down in the 5th. Now Justin Turner has already made his mark on this game with a home run in the 3rd inning. Long Beach native, Cal State Fullerton product. Back in his native Southern California. Not the only star to emerge from this part of the world, including our old friends Darryl Strawberry and Gary Carter. Ralph Kiner.
7 Hall of Famers there.
Of course, those are just some of the stars who were born and or raised all around LA. Turner broke his bat on that foul ball, 1-1. Of course, Darryl Strawberry came out of Crenshaw High School, #1 pick in the draft.
Pretty good draft.
One of those years when the Mets could not have drafted better.
You also got Robin Yount, Hall of Famer. Ozzie Smith, Hall of Famer. Tonavella.
It's a great area for baseball where you can play year round.
Absolutely.
One-two to Turner. Up and away, 2-2. Cody Bellinger waits on deck. Turner's home run was only his 5th of the year. Got some catching up to do in the home run department after hitting 27 last year. And he takes a swing at a fastball and strikes out. That's 7 strikeouts for Matz. 2 down in the home 5th.
First baseman, Cody Bellinger.
It would seem to me with a leg kick that big, Keith, your timing has got to be absolutely perfect to get your foot down on time.
Yes, and Darryl had the same thing, but it's all when the foot comes down, because obviously Darryl did that as extreme as Turner's too, that leg kick. And all you're driving is, they're all straight as statues when they go up, and they're driving off that back foot. But the key is to get that foot down so you don't lunge, don't get your body forward. You are right, though. It's a lot of movement, and
I mean, I'm thinking if you have a pitcher who is particularly deceptive in terms of his timing, and we saw with Kershaw the other night, the way he hesitates with that foot before he comes through with the delivery, that it would be very difficult to get that foot up and down on time.
Well, you'd have to make the adjustment, Gary, on when you start your leg kick. Do you get it down sooner? you have to adjust to the herky-jerky motion. Sutcliffe, for me, threw me off balance because he had that wiggle like Don Drysdale, and he was always his foot stepped quicker to home before he threw the ball, and it threw me off and got me out in front, and I had to make the adjustment. So I had to stand more erect. I used to like to be crouched a little bit, but with Sutcliffe I had to stand upright because it made me relax more and wait more.
Ball four to Bellinger, and he's on with a 2-out walk.
So that's just me, and it may not be with someone else. That's just one example.
Chris Hatcher up in the Dodger bullpen. As Keith noted, Ryu has been pretty short in his starts this year, and he's thrown 86 pitches through 5 innings, so the Dodgers have the bullpen ready. Now Kike Hernandez, his 2-run homer, put the Dodgers in front in the 3rd inning. An opposite field shot, his 7th of the year. Hernandez only has 7 home runs, but he's hit 6 of them against lefties in just 60 at bats. So not much of a long ball threat against right-hand pitching, but big time against left-handers. Bellinger at first with 2 out. The Dodgers have already stolen a couple of bases tonight, so Matz is going to pay a little more attention. Bellinger has 4 stolen bases. Fastball up and in, ball 1. The Dodgers only have 3 hits in this game, but they came consecutively with 2 out in the 3rd inning. Turner homered, Bellinger doubled, Hernandez homered, and just like that, 3 runs for LA, and they have held the lead since. There goes Bellinger. Darno with a clear path to throw, but still too late. Bellinger with his 5th stolen base of the year, and the Dodgers' 3rd stolen base tonight.
Got to pay attention to the base runners, and I think more so for left-handers, because a lot of base runners are going to sneak that stolen base by just taking a chance that once the pitcher, left-hander, in this case Matz, breaks from the belt, he's not going to throw over and they can get a good jump.
Well, much was made of Noah Syndergaard's trouble holding runners last year, but Matz had just as big an issue, and they ran consistently on him all of last year, and the Dodgers clearly going with that scouting report tonight.
I think Matz is such a intense individual on the mound, and a lot of pitchers, they get so wrapped up in focusing on getting their signs, their multiple signs when there's runners on second base, and they're so focused on getting the hitter out that they are oblivious to everything around them.
Two and one to Hernandez, and a fastball strike. 2-2.
Watch, he's going to break right away. Just took a chance, and it wasn't a good jump. He's like a locomotive. He has to get the engine running. He's not a guy that's going to be he's not a bursting type of runner, Bellinger. He runs good once he gets moving.
And time asked for.
And he almost had a walking lead, and that's something that you can't allow a runner to get, a walking lead, particularly a runner like Bellinger. Did I say running lead, or I meant walking lead?
Walking, you said walking.
Okay.
Matt's up to 95 pitches working in the 5th. Those 5 walks have not helped. And Hernandez takes up and away and another full count.
He's been missing up and away to right-hand hitters, which is a sign that he's lagging. His arm's lagging, which might factor into getting a little tired.
5th time he's gone to a full count tonight. Nobody up as yet in the Mets bullpen. 3-2 to Hernandez with Bellinger at 2nd and 2 out. Gutierrez on deck. And Hernandez pulls one foul. Again, the 3-2. And he struck him out with a changeup. Matt strikes out 3 in the inning, 8 for the night. We've played 5 in LA, 3-2 Dodgers. As a young kid walking out of a concourse in a major league ballpark and out to the space where you can see all that green.
Right. I agree. My first experience was not on that upper tank level. That was at a Cardinal 1962 Cardinal game at Candlestick Park. Stan Musial left our family the tickets, and our tickets were Stan's seats right behind the third base dugout, 5th row. So we walked out of that opening on field level, and I remember walking out looking towards right field and seeing that ballpark and seeing Dick Groat and Bill White, and I was amazing.
Chris Hatcher makes his second appearance in this series. Yoenis Cespedes leads off in the 6th inning. So Ryu went 5, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs. And leaves it in the hands of Hatcher, who worked 2 scoreless innings Monday night, but he was in trouble for every step of those 2 innings. Gave up 2 hits and 2 walks. Cespedes carves 1 foul, and it's 1-1. Jay Bruce on deck, and then Travis d'Arnaud for the Mets in the 6th. Mets have gotten solo home runs tonight from Granderson and d'Arnaud, and they've wasted several other scoring chances. Cespedes hits one deep, headed toward the pole. Foul. Well, back in the seats.
Hatcher is a home run machine. He's given up 7 home runs this year. He did, like Gary said, 2 scoreless innings in the first game. Before, he was in and out of trouble.
Hatcher first came up with the Marlins in 2011. Cespedes center field, and Hernandez right there. 1 out. Check out the city probables for the series starting tomorrow night at AT&T Park. Seth Lugo makes the start tomorrow night against the lefty Ty Block. Jacob deGrom goes in the Saturday game against Johnny Cueto, and Rafael Montero is going to get the start with Zach Wheeler going on the DL. Montero starts Sunday against Matt Moore. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs. His report tonight is brought to you by Volkswagen. For more on the Giants, Steve.
Well, Gary, the Giants look well on their way to losing again tonight in Atlanta. If they did, they'd be 27-48 on the season, which is the exact same record after 75 games that the Giants had in 1985, the worst season in franchise history, where they went on to lose 100 games. The offense just has not been there all season long. They're going against the grain in terms of what's happening in baseball. Only 62 home runs hit by this Giants offense. Just to give you a point of comparison, the Mets have hit 107 this year. But again, the issue for this Giants team, one of the major issues, is that bullpen. They had hoped that they would have solved it with Mark Melancon, but he's been injured and hasn't been all that good when he's been healthy. And this road trip, where they look to be going 1-7, the bullpen has an ERA right now of over 11. So nothing going right for this Giants team this season.
And one of the key components in that bullpen, Hunter Strickland, on suspension now after his dust up with Bryce Harper, and he will miss the first 2 games of the series with the Mets. And to be honest, the Giants starting pitching hasn't been very good either. Everybody in that rotation has an ERA over 4.2. So nothing really has gone right, except for Buster Posey, who's having a great season for San Francisco. Bruce takes it low, ball 4, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner. First time Bruce has been on base tonight. And now Darno, who homered his last time up, will try and make something of it. Steve was talking about the Giants and home runs. In this home run laden season, the Giants only have 1 player in double figures in home runs, and that's Brandon Belt, who has a dozen. Darno hit his 8th of the year his last time up, 1 for 2, and takes a slider on the corner, 0-1. One bright spot in the last couple of weeks for San Francisco, they brought up Austin Slater, Stanford product. Stuck him in left field, and he's hit over 300 over his first couple of weeks in the big leagues. That position had been a bit of a black hole for the Giants this year.
They miss Angel Pagan, don't they?
They brought Michael Morse back. He suffered a concussion. And Jared Parker, they thought, was going to play the outfield. He messed up his shoulder. He's been out all year. Now Eduardo Nunez, who's actually played pretty well for them, has a hamstring problem. So they've had all sorts of issues.
So it's not just the Mets.
Nope, not just the Mets. You look at this National League, and basically there's the Nationals in the East. There's these 3 teams in the West, the Dodgers, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks, and then there's a whole lot of mediocrity.
No, don't put the Cubs so much in that category. I think the Cubs are the sleeping giant. We'll see if they wake up. There's too much talent on that team.
Well, they won today. The Cubbies did. They beat the Marlins 11-1. They also sent Kyle Schwarber down to the minor leagues. He was hitting 171, so it was hardly a shock.
Wake up call for Schwarber.
Darno pops one a mile high into shallow center, and Hernandez coming in to get it. And there are 2 out. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Doug. They're creepy and they're kooky.
Mysterious and well, we won't go on with that.
Gooky. Here's Adams.
You know, getting back to Schwarber getting sent down. I saw him play in I almost said Citi Field. He's going to be fine. His swing, he's going to hit. I think that this is I guess a mini. Is it a sophomore jinx for him?
Well, he missed most of last year,
Right.
so I guess you'd call it his sophomore season. Grant Dayton's up in the Dodger bullpen.
I didn't see anything wrong with his swing, and I think that he'll be back and be a force.
When you think of Conforto and what he went through last year and having to be sent to the minors twice.
I like Schwarber's swing. I mean, he's all or nothing. He's got a good swing, and he tries to hit home runs.
Well, he's got to hit because he doesn't have a defensive position where he can play uncomfortably. And a lot of people feel as though ultimately he'll have to end up in the American League as a DH. Dude has walked and struck out tonight. Bruce at first with 2 out. And Lucas takes inside. Ball and a strike. Jose Reyes would be next. Mets have had 5 hits tonight, including a pair of home runs. Line to right center. That's a base hit. Bruce on his way to third. The ball goes all the way to the wall. Bruce is going to be waved around third by Glenn Sherlock. The relay throw to the plate is offline. Bruce steps in safely. The ball gets loose. It's an RBI double for Lucas Duda to tie the game at 3. There's the big hit the Mets have been looking for. Duda drives home Bruce from first base with a double to the gap.
Bare hands it off the wall. A little bit of a fumble, and that's the difference. Perfect relay. The throw's a little bit offline. The throw's on line. Bruce is going to be out. I think you got to be sliding there. Sherlock, Glenn Sherlock aggressively sending him. He's churning.
So we're tied at 3, and now Reyes will try and get Duda home with the tie-breaking run, and he takes outside ball 1. Barnes tried to get that tag back. Bruce got there. Ball came loose. Bruce clearly safe.
Boy, he could have broke his wrist.
Reyes to left center, overcomes Hernandez to get it. That retires the side. But a walk to Bruce, a 2-out RBI double for Duda, and the Mets get even. 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Mets get even on the Lucas Duda RBI double.
Split finger. You see this 2 index finger and the middle finger? It didn't do much. Lucas tracked that beautifully.
Steven Matz back to the mound for the bottom of the 6th. Franklin Gutierrez takes the fastball for a strike. Matz about to throw his 100th pitch of the night. Threw exactly 100 his last start against Washington in 7 innings. Gutierrez is 0 for 2 tonight. And the curveball misses. Here's your G pitch cast. See where that pitch was.
Fat.
Split changeup. up the gap. Tie game. 1-1 to Gutierrez. Fastball lifted foul down the right side. Bruce coming over for a look, but it's beyond his reach.
And they got a DeVito. Yeah. Dig it. Yeah. Let's go boogie.
And I got a DeVito, baby. Don't you know that I love you?
I can dance to hard rock. You know that.
No, you can't. 1-2 coming from Matz. And it's pulled sharply off the shoulder of Flores. He recovers and makes the play on Gutierrez. Great recovery by Flores. Gutierrez does not run like he used to, and Flores had time to throw him out.
Well, the hot corner. Ball came up too. And you're right. Nice recovery by Wilmer. Strong throw. You know the organist did that for us.
I know. He came in. He came in to see us before the game. Peter is his name, and he liked that we appreciated his Iron Butterfly rendition.
Last night he did a much longer version, and we have never heard that in the ballpark. At least I haven't.
Josh Edgen, Eric Goodell up in the Mets bullpen. Here's Austin Barnes taking a curveball outside. Barnes has been up twice and walked both times. Steven Matz trying to persevere a little deeper in his pitch count. In a tie game in the 6th. And Barnes hits another one down to Flores, and that goes off his glove. And Barnes is safe at first. Well, Wilmer charging, hoping to get a good hop, but unable to handle it. And the error puts the runner aboard.
See, Wilmer plays everything too much off to the side. Got to get in front. Now, warning, Will Robinson. You've got a runner on that stole 2 bases last time he was on. And Mr. Barnes, pay attention.
It's danger, Will Robinson.
Okay.
Here's Yasiel Puig, who's been intentionally walked and hit a comebacker. Nats tried a slide step that time, and Puig fouls it off. I mean, part of the issue with Steven is he's got such a long delivery coming home that even if he keeps an eye on base runners, he's so slow to the plate.
Well, still, though, if he doesn't give away his move, which means he doesn't bring his right foot behind the rubber, if he throws over enough, that's going to check the runner.
And trying to slide step this time. You know, last year he worked on hanging that leg and trying to deceive base runners a little bit, give them something more to think about. But now, just in his 3rd start of the year, he's got other issues to deal with, coming back from elbow soreness. Jock Peterson has come out on deck to pinch hit for the Dodgers. They have only one available right-handed bat on the bench, and that's their switch hitting catcher Yasmani Grandal. They're not going to use him in this spot, so Peterson, a left-hand hitter, on deck. 1-1 to Puig. Pulled to short, should be 2. Reyes to Cecchini, and on to first. Double play, side retired. And that gets Steven Matz through the bottom of the 6th. 6-4-3. On to the 7th, still tied at 3. Play ball, and the New York Jets are looking to help local football leagues in need with grants, equipment donations, clinics, and special Jets experiences. Does your league need assistance? Apply today at sny.tv/playball. Seventh inning, Mets and Dodgers tied 3-3. Gavin Cecchini leads off. Brandon Nimmo on deck to pinch hit. Chris Hatcher working his second inning of relief, and Cecchini takes a strike. Cecchini had a base hit his last time up. Steven Matz, 6 innings, 107 pitches, and other than one bad stretch in the third inning, a good night for Matz. Gave up just 3 hits in 6 innings. Cecchini lifts one to right, and Puig is there. And that's the first out. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has another game break brought to you by the New York State Department of Health. Doug? And that draws the Diamondbacks even with the Rockies, a virtual tie for second in the National League West. Right now a game behind the Dodgers. Dave Roberts comes out of the dugout. Looks like he's going to make a double switch. After Nimmo is announced into the game as the pinch hitter, he'll bring a left-hander in. So we'll have a pitching change. Grant Dayton ready to go. 3-3 game in the 7th in Los Angeles. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Flushing, we have the Jackie Robinson Rotunda here, the newly minted Jackie Robinson statue. Perfect.
Nice. Very nice.
Pose in full slide. Changes for the Dodgers. Kike Hernandez moves from center field to left field. Jock Peterson comes into play center. He'll bat 9th. And the new pitcher, Grant Dayton, will hit in the 6th spot.
Well, Dayton here has appeared in, this will be his 3rd appearance in this series. He's got the job done.
Just a 1-2-3 inning last night with a couple of strikeouts. Nimmo stays in to face him and takes the curveball for a strike. Brandon struck out as a pinch hitter last night. 4 at bats since his call up, 1 for 4, all off the bench. Curtis Granderson, who's working on a big night, is on deck, and it's up and into Nimmo, a ball and a strike. So Hatcher went an inning and a third, allowed 1 run, 1 hit, a walk, no strikeouts. That's 3 runs, 6 hits. The Dodgers 3 runs, 3 hits. Each team has hit a pair of home runs tonight. And Nimmo takes up an in, 2-1. One thing that characterized Nimmo throughout his minor league career was his patience at the plate. All Seawald up in the bullpen for New York.
I like him off the bench.
For a young player, did a very nice job last year as a pinch hitter. And Dayton gets a call at the knees, 2-2. Two coming, and Nimmo lays off, and it's high, 3-2. So Brandon giving a good accounting of himself against this left-hander. Nimmo battled hamstring issues coming out of spring training. Then he hurt his hand on a swing, so that set him back this year. Didn't have great numbers in Vegas before his call-up. 3-2 on the way, and he fouls back the fastball. But he appears to be fully healthy right now. And despite the fact that with the gloved outfielders the Mets have, there's not going to be much starting time for Nimmo. The Mets, for the moment, inclined to leave him here as a bench piece.
And I would be very inclined to agree. I think he's an asset.
7th pitch of the at bat, and he fouls off another fastball. Well, both these teams have their top relievers available. Pedro Baez, normally the 8th inning man for the Dodgers. Kenley Jansen, neither one's been used in this series. Likewise for Terry Collins, Jerry Blevins, Addison Reed. Neither one has been used in this series because all the games to this point had been one-sided. Not tonight. 3-2. And it's outside, ball 4. Nimmo works out a walk. Close pitch, and he takes it just off the plate. And the Mets get the tie-breaking run aboard with 1 out.
Nice at bat.
So now Granderson, who's had a big night, led off the game with a home run for the 2nd straight night. Then he doubled off the wall in right center and drew a walk in the 5th. All of that against the left-hander Ryu, and now facing another left-hander. Last night, Curtis had 3 hits against left-hand pitching. First time he'd done that in 6 years. Got a chance to do it again tonight. And a fastball in for a strike from Dayton.
Dayton's kind of a cross-armor, cross-thrower, little slinger. Very close to how Nepper used to throw. A little bit, not as much, not extreme, but he's not a hard thrower.
Got a good curveball that he mixes in. Nimmo's got some speed, but not a big stolen base threat. He has not stolen a base in the big leagues. And the curveball knocked down by Barnes, keeping Nimmo at first, 1-1. With the hamstring issues that Nimmo had earlier this year, he didn't even attempt a stolen base this season at Vegas. Had 7 last year. Three infielders on the right side against Granderson. And that one's over his head, and he ducks. 2-1.
That'll get your attention.
Wilmer Flores waiting on deck. They've got a right-hander ready in the bullpen. 2 right-hand hitters coming up after Granderson. And Curtis fouls it back. 2-2. Nimmo at first and 1 out. Tie game, 7th inning.
Boy, I wish we had those road uniforms when I played. I like that New York across the chest.
It's the classic
with the piping. What a shame.
Two coming, and it's too high. 3-2. So now, do you send Nimmo?
It's a tough call because you got a left-hander out there, and Curtis strikes out a lot. I would not, Gary. But I wouldn't second guess if Terry decides.
3-2 with 1 out. Not going, and it's on the outside corner. Granderson caught looking. It's in a very similar location as ball 4 to Nimmo, but Dayton got the call this time for the 2nd out.
Wow, he's been a high ball umpire all day, and it's the boy, oh boy, look low. Had plenty of play at the corner. So
your Jeep pitch cast. Yeah,
a little bit low.
Dave Roberts on his way out to the mound. He's going to make a pitching change with the right-hand hitters coming up. He'll bring Pedro Baez into the game. So get your hourglass, get your sundial. Pedro Baez is coming in.
The human rain delay.
It's going to take a while. Well, Pedro Baez may take a long time to throw his pitches, but he's very successful when he does.
Well, he's had a good year thus far, and those numbers tell the story.
All right, get your clocks going. We're going to run the stopwatch on him. Wilmer Flores, the batter. Go ahead, run at first with 2 out. Wilmer's 0 for 3 tonight, 4 for his last 39. He didn't do a double play his last time up. Batting here with Nimmo at first and 2 down. Gone to the 9th in Atlanta. Braves 12, Giants 9.
Ooh.
So it's what? It's almost 12:30 now. Giants have to fly to San Francisco after that game.
It's a long.
That's crazy. And the slider on the corner, and it's 1-1 to Flores. Mets have just a 1-hour flight up to San Francisco. The Giants have a 5-hour flight from Atlanta. One from Baez to Flores, and a high fastball swung and missed at 97, 1-2.
Chased a high one right here.
He's been vulnerable up there the entire series.
He has. The Wilmer's a low ball hitter.
It's like Baez has quickened his pace.
Yes, nothing wrong with what he's.
Yeah, somebody got in his ear. Maybe they told him there was a pitch clock.
Maybe they told him he had 8 players out there that play a year in, day in, day out.
Last year in the postseason, he was clocked at 52 seconds between pitches, which is, I mean, so far off the charts. Two and two to Flores. Checking on Nimmo. Baez, the 4th Dodger pitcher of the night. The starter Ryu went 5, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits. Hatcher gave up a run in an inning and a third. Dayton went a third of an inning, and now Baez trying to close the 7th. There goes Nimmo, and it's fouled back. So Nimmo took off on the 2-2 pitch.
Terry's finally got himself a game to manage. All the first 3 games have been blowouts.
Well, he can manage with a full deck because he knows he's got a fully rested bullpen as far as his key guys are concerned. 2-2. Slider off the plate. And now a full count to Flores, and now Nimmo will be on the move again.
Should be.
Has to be.
Yes.
Cespedes is on deck. So if you're Baez, to figure that he's going to challenge Flores here, not mess around too much. Nimmo gets set to run. 3-2 coming to Flores. And Wilmer fouls it off. 99 from Baez.
Dodgers have only had 3 hits in this game. The Mets 6. But once again, the home runs have been but has brought home the bacon for them.
8th pitch of the at bat coming to Flores. And Wilmer golfs it foul. Well, Baez coming with the hard stuff. 99, 99. You mix in an 86, you got an episode of Get Smart.
Oh, you're right. You have to get Jaime in this episode. Kill the light, Jaime.
Again, the 3-2. And Wilmer fouls off another one, this one at 100. So Baez keeps upping the ante, and Flores keeps wasting them away. Pedro Baez in his 4th season with the Dodgers. Prime setup man for Kenley Jansen, who's been off the charts this year. Would certainly behoove the Mets to get them a lead before Jansen finds his way into this game. Pitch number 10 to Flores, and he fouls off yet another.
Good at bat by Wilmer here.
Well, there's no secret what the game plan is here for Baez. High fastball, high fastball.
Well, the fact that he's got himself to 3-2, it's kind of made it pretty obvious that he's going to have to come after him. You don't want to walk anybody here.
Well, Barnes wants a slider. Now time is asked for. See if they stay with it.
Good.
Cespedes on deck. And Wilmer fouls off the slider. It's 88. It wasn't 86. So disappointing.
Remember the agent that was always in the
trash can?
Trash can. What, I forget.
13?
Was it 13? Of course.
This will be pitch number 12 from Baez to Flores. And Wilmer hits a ground ball right at the second baseman. Forsythe makes the play, and Baez wins the battle on the 12th pitch. Stretch time in LA tied at 3.
Worst pain I've ever been in. I've had a morphine pump and I pumped until I passed out. It sucked, but that's what I had to do to stay on the field. If I didn't have the surgery, I probably couldn't play anymore, so I had to do it.
Mets Insider presented by WB Mason, Sunday at 7:30 only on SNY. Paul Sewald will pitch the bottom of the 7th for New York.
A little more hits than given up. Doesn't walk anybody. And he goes after hitters.
He's struggled against lefties, and the left-hand hitting Jock Peterson, first man to face him, attacks the first pitch, deep to right center. It's out of here, and the Dodgers have the lead, and they have a new club record, their 15th home run in the series. As Peterson hits the first pitch thrown by Paul Sewald up into the pavilion, his 5th home run of the year, and it's 4-3 LA.
Well, he was sitting dead red, that's for sure. First pitch dead red, and he got it.
Second baseman, number 11, Logan Forsythe.
First pitch fastball hitting. Outer half up. Boy, look at that level swing and a follow through.
The Dodgers have been playing baseball since 1884. They had never hit 15 home runs in a series until Jock Peterson just hit that home run. And the Mets had never given up 15 home runs in a series until this moment. That's lined into center field, a base hit for Forsythe. So back-to-back base hits against Sewald to start his outing.
Number 3, Chris Taylor.
Jock Peterson can do that to you. Not had much of a season so far, but 25 home runs last year, 26 the year before. And a go-ahead home run here in the 7th tonight. Now Chris Taylor with a man on and nobody out. Taylor's 0 for 3 tonight. Steven Matz threw 107 pitches over 6 innings. Allowed 3 runs, 3 hits, 5 walks, 1 intentional, 8 strikeouts, a wild pitch, 2 home runs, and no decision for Matz tonight. 3rd straight start he's gone 6 innings or more. He had the one bad stretch in the 3rd. Turner, Bellinger, Hernandez, home run, double home run. Otherwise, despite the high walk total, Matz had himself a good outing. But Sewald comes in and throws 1 pitch, and all of a sudden the Dodgers are back in front. And the slider in for a strike to Taylor. There have now been 22 home runs hit in this 4-game series, 7 by the Mets, 15 by the Dodgers. And all sorts of marks being obliterated along the way. 1-1 to Taylor. There's no action in the Dodger bullpen. Baez, who got the final out in the 7th, certainly is expected to pitch the 8th, and then they have Kenley Jansen available for the 9th. That's bullpen as well. Quiet. Taylor getting a chance to play shortstop tonight. First time he started there this year, his natural position. It's jammed and fouls it off 1-2. Little Jethro Tull.
Yes. Aqua lung.
Barry Blevins getting up in the Mets bullpen with Cody Bellinger 2 batters away. Spitting out pieces of his broken luck.
Yes. Don't go to the next verse.
I'm just saying that, you know, right now that's probably a pretty apt theme. Justin Turner on deck. And Bellinger in the hole. Dodgers have had just 5 hits tonight, but 3 of them have left the ballpark. And that misses. Full count to Taylor. So nothing going well for Sewald here. His 2nd appearance in the series. Pitched a hitless 8th inning on Tuesday night. But here brought into a tight spot. And the first 2 hitters have reached. Now it's 3-2. And Taylor takes ball 4. 3-2 slider. And the trouble just deepens.
He kind of goosed that slider in there. I don't think he wanted to throw it. 3-2. If you don't want to throw it, then shake off the catcher.
Well, that sets the table for Justin Turner, who opened the scoring for the Dodgers tonight with his 5th home run of the year off Steven Matz in the 3rd. Turner's 1 for 3 tonight, 5 for 11 with a couple of home runs in this series. And Sewald has some heavy lifting to do. 1st and 2nd and nobody out. This is likely to be his last batter with Bellinger on deck and Blevins up in the bullpen. But he needs a ground ball in the worst way against a hitter who does not hit many ground balls. And Turner takes a big rip at a slider. 0-1. Right now Justin is from that Chris Bryant school of I want to hit 4 fly balls every night.
Right. Well, he's claimed that's the reason for his success.
By the way, Bryant hit a home run today and the Cubs win. Probably more important from them, they got a great start from Jake Arrieta, who has really struggled. Below the knees, ball and a strike to Turner. It's a final in Atlanta. The Braves hang on to beat the Giants 12-11. 7 home runs in that game, including Buster Posey's 10th of the year. Let's see the Giants tomorrow night. Turner pulls one foul, and it's 1-2. So the Braves win 12-11. Now Sewald with the 1-2. And it's off the corner with a fastball. 2-2.
Oh, that's a close pitch right there. That could have gone either way.
Forsythe at second, Taylor at first. Nobody out in the inning. And Turner lofts one out to left. Cespedes over. And that's the first out. Forsythe fakes the go from second. He's not going anywhere, as Cespedes threw it right on the money to third base. 1 out. And here comes Terry Collins, and he's got Jerry Blevins available to face the red-hot left-hand batting Cody Bellinger. So the Mets will make a pitching change here in the 7th, down 4-3, and we'll be right back.
Well, the obvious move right there, the left-handers. 105 against Jerry. He's been wonderful but today.
Let's check in with Steve.
Gary, one of the things that makes Cody Bellinger's run all the more remarkable is his first 2 years in pro ball, he was not a home run hitter. Just 4 home runs combined in those 2 years. The next season, 30 home runs. What changed? Well, you can still see it now. He added a hitch in his swing that has helped him get the ball at a certain angle that it adds the requisite amount of backspin to keep that ball lofting, something that he didn't have his first 2 years in the minors.
Not too many guys add a hitch, but whatever works. Bellinger tonight a double and a walk. He's scored a run. He's stolen a base. First and second and 1 out. And Blevins takes a look back at Forsythe. Dodgers have been running tonight. They've stolen 3 bases, and Blevins wants to put an end to that before he even worries about Bellinger. Paul Sewald faced 4 batters, retired only 1 of them. Gave up the leadoff home run to Peterson here in the 7th. That has the Dodgers back in front. And now Bellinger gets the first pitch curveball well out of the strike zone for ball 1. Darno, good job of smothering that. It's been 5 days since Blevins has gone to the mound. He's had very few stretches this year where he's had this much rest. So you certainly worry about sharpness for Blevins, who's had such a heavy workload. Last outing was Saturday night against Washington. He faced 2 batters. And the curveball whacked in the air to right. It's in the air for Bruce. And he's there to grab it. 2 out.
He missed.
Bellinger flies out.
He missed a hanger, and you see the expression on his face. He'd have hit that ball a country mile. Right there, hanging.
Off the end of the bat, wasn't too happy about it. So now 2 out of the inning, and a big one for Blevins. He'll face Kike Hernandez, who's already hit a home run tonight against a left-hander. 2-run shot off Matz to the opposite field in the 3rd that gave the Dodgers a 3-1 lead at the time. Hernandez struck out in his other 2 at-bats. Two out and 2 on. Hernandez hitless in his only career at bat against Blevins. And the fastball well outside, and Blevins is indeed showing some signs of rust. None of his first 3 pitches have gone where he's wanted them to. Corey Seager out on deck to pinch hit. If Hernandez can keep the inning going, Sergio Romo up in the Dodger bullpen. So if they bat for Baez, they'll go to Romo for the 8th. Romo was certainly impressive last night in his first outing back from the DL. And Blevins really struggling with his command behind 2-0. Forsythe at second, Taylor at first with 2 out. And the curveball bends in for a strike. 2-1. Jerry has been so good this year. Last year he was more effective against righties than lefties. Hasn't quite gone that way this year. He's been so dominant against the lefties. The righties have been giving him a little more grief. And a good curveball there to get even in the count. Last year, I think, against the righties, he surprised a lot of them by the number of fastballs he threw.
Right. He changed his program. And then he got a little bit too happy with the fastball and got hurt, and then he went back to really just mixing them up.
Saw him use a changeup in his last outing. Doesn't throw that very much. 2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Hernandez. And time asked for. Now the 2-2. Curveball wrapped around the plate, and it's 3-2. So now the runners will be in motion. Forsythe at second, Taylor at first. Corey Seager looming on deck to pinch hit. (3-2) coming to Hernandez. And the curveball, did he go? He did not. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Blevins walks the right-hand batter Hernandez. Corey Seager had been out on deck, but that apparently was a bluff, and Pedro Baez is going to bat for himself.
Interesting.
So Dave Roberts trying to convince Blevins to maybe be more aggressive to Hernandez, knowing Seager was on deck to pinch hit, but it was all a ruse. And so Baez will come to bat.
Well, I think he succeeded because that did go to 3-2. And he did fall behind early.
I mean, it would have been going against type for him to Hammerdine. You certainly could have made the case for him to use Seager here, try and build the lead and go to somebody else for the 8th.
And the all left-handed bench of the Dodgers, only one right-hand hitter, and that's the switch hitting Grandal, who's a better left-hand hitter.
Baez 0 for 2 for his career. And now Blevins needs to throw strikes. He misses ball 1. 1 at bat last year, 1 at bat this year for Baez. Forsythe at third, Taylor at second, Hernandez at first with 2 out. Baez hitting in the 6th spot in the batting order. Austin Barnes would be next. And Blevins falls behind 2-0. He's just not sharp. And again, I mean, he's used to working every other day, 2 out of 3, 4 out of 6. Hasn't worked since last Saturday, and you can see the effects.
Well, you got to think Baez, the pitcher, is going to be taking here 2-0.
And now 3-0.
Wow.
Well, he'll take 1. He probably will take 2. He might even take 3. And Blevins just has to throw it down the middle.
Oh, my
Nightmare. A bases loaded walk to Pedro Baez. 5-3 LA, and Terry cannot even believe it. How could you? Guy's been his best relief pitcher all year, and he just walked a guy with 2 career at bats, a pitcher with the bases loaded, and he walked him on 4 pitches.
It's amazing.
The accumulation of horrors for this team just continues to mount. Baez can barely believe it. His first career run batted in.
That's a big run right there. Now you got a real hitter up there that got a chance to break the game open, and Barnes. If I'm a hitter right now, Gary, I am sitting on a fastball first pitch, and if it's a strike, I'm after it.
Well, he threw 4 fastballs to Baez, didn't throw a strike with any of them. I think if I'm Blevins, I'm inclined to start him with a curveball. But he comes with the fastball and gets a strike.
And he's taken all the way. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Blevins came in with 2 men aboard and 1 out. Got Bellinger on a fly ball, but then walked Hernandez to load the bases and incredibly walked Baez to force in a run. And there's the curveball outside. A ball on a strike to Barnes, who's walked twice and reached on an error. 0 for 1 tonight. He's the 8th man up in the inning. Yasiel Puig would be next. And Fernando Salas goes to work in the Mets bullpen. And Barnes swings over the curveball, 1-2. Blevins trying to close the door on this inning. Ahead on Barnes, 1-2. And he and Darno having trouble getting together. This was a tie game when this inning began. Jock Peterson led off the inning with a home run against Paul Sewald. And now the bases loaded walk is tacked on a run. 1-2 coming. And that sails outside. 2-2. Two from Blevins to Barnes, and the curveball misses low and in, and it's 3-2, and now the merry-go-round will be in motion. So Blevins got ahead in the count, unable to put him away. Now Taylor, Hernandez, and Baez will all be running with 3-2 and 2 down. Here it comes. And he walked him. Second straight bases loaded walk. And it's 6-3 LA. What's next? The Locusts? I mean, the one guy that you could count on all year long out of your bullpen, you get him fully rested, 4 complete days off. You send him to the mound in a 1-run game, and Jerry Blevins walks 3 guys in a row to force in 2 runs. Who could have ever thought?
Good Lord.
Blevins out, Salas in. 6-3 LA in the 7th. We'll be right back. Third appearance of the series after Jerry Blevins could not throw a ball over the plate. And he'll come into a bases loaded 2-out spot to face Yasiel Puig, the 9th man up in the inning. An inning which has seen the Dodgers score 3 runs on a leadoff home run and 2 bases loaded walks. Puig is 0 for 2 and a walk tonight, and he takes a strike from Salas.
3 runs on 2 hits, 4 walks.
Met pitchers have walked 9 tonight, 1 of those intentional. Matz walked 5, Sewald walked 1, and Blevins incredibly walked 3 in a row. Blevins had walked 9 batters all year, and he walked 3 in a row, including a pitcher in his 3rd career plate appearance. Off the plate to Puig, a ball and a strike. Jock Peterson, who led off this inning with a home run, is now on deck. Peterson Peterson's home run, and the first pitch Paul Sewald threw gave the Dodgers the lead, and they have tacked on 2 more. All 3 runs in the inning charged to Sewald. All 3 on base right now, the responsibility of Blevins. And the sinker misses, and it's 2-1. Salas worked both Monday night and Tuesday night. Gave up 2 runs in an inning Monday night. We're at an inning and a third. No runs on Tuesday. Puig fouls off the fastball, and it's 2-2. Big cut.
Nicely
now
done.
We're playing the Who.
We need it.
Hernandez, Baez, and Barnes the base runners. 2-2 to Puig. And he pulls one down to third. Wilmer gets it and gets the force, and the inning finally comes to an end. But the Dodgers score 3 to grab the lead. First pitch Paul Sewald threw tonight. Jock Peterson lost it into the bleachers in right field. The Dodgers' 15th home run of the series, the most the Mets have ever given up in a series. 6-3 LA. Three to 1 tied it. Lucas Duda's double in the 6th got the Mets even, but the Dodgers with a 3-run 7th regain the lead 6-3 as we go to the 8th. Corey Seager, who had been sitting tonight, comes in to play shortstop as we go to the 8th inning. Pedro Baez, who just ran the bases, back out to the mound. He's now pitcher of record on the long side after getting the final out in the 7th. See all of the hot moments from some of the top high school ballers as NYN Overtime team up to bring you the best New York City hoops highlights all summer long. Check it out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Speaking of basketball, tonight, of course, was the NBA draft.
Right.
And I don't want to sit here and discuss the picks the Knicks made, the kid from France, whose name I can't pronounce, the kid from Serbia, whose name I can't pronounce. But I do want to discuss the number 13 pick in the draft. And that would be Donovan Mitchell Jr. from the University of Louisville, whose dad, Donovan Mitchell, works in the Mets Community Relations Department, is one of the real sweethearts of all time. And it is great to see his son Donovan, who's a great talent, 6'3" guard, get drafted. Drafted actually by Denver and then traded to Utah. But congratulations to Donovan Sr., Donovan Jr. It's a great day for that family and some of our favorite people around. And just a really nice thing that happened tonight. So on an otherwise distressing night for the Mets.
Well,
a good day for the Mitchell family.
The Mets still have 2 at-bats. I'm at 2 innings.
Distressing so far. How about that?
Thank you. Qualify that.
Cespedes fouls went off, and it's 1-2. Well, Baez spent a lot of time out on the bases, drew the bases loaded walk, and was out there for another 10-15 minutes or so. We'll see if that has any impact on him at all as he goes back to the mound for the 8th. Jay Bruce on deck, and then Travis d'Arnaud. And Cespedes fouls one back. It's been a rough series for Cespedes, just 2 for 13. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Mets have had 6 hits, including home runs from Granderson and d'Arnaud, but they find themselves 3 runs in arrears in the 8th, trying to avoid a 4-game sweep at the hands of the incredibly hot Dodgers. Lined up the middle, and a smothering stop by Forsythe, but his throw is wide, and Cespedes has an infield hit. Great effort by Forsythe, just couldn't get a clean throw away, and Cespedes has his first hit of the night.
Beautiful backhand and the throw, and again Bellinger coming off the bag on a short, in between hop, makes a beautiful pick, and very smoothly. Well, he's impressive with the glove. He's got good hands.
Didn't mind you of Mattingly at all with his actions at first?
Yeah, Tad, yes, but he's a
little taller.
Yeah, for 6'4", he's pretty mobile, and he's got terrific hands.
Well, the Mets have a leadoff base runner. Jay Bruce, the batter. Seager's going to stay close enough on the left side to dissuade Bruce from bunting, but if you were ever going to bunt, this would certainly be a time for it, down by 3 runs in the 8th. And Jay takes the fastball high for ball 1.
I would, if he was going to do it, I would want him to at least have 1 strike or he takes a rip. Mets got to get back in. I would not want him bunting, Gary. I think it would just, the Mets need a big inning here to get back in, chip away.
Well, even to bunt for a hit, get the tying run to bat.
Well,
1-1 to Bruce. Jay walked and scored in the 6th inning, 0 for 2 tonight. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night after the post game. I know his first name is Frank, and I know his last name starts with an N, but I have no idea how to pronounce it. But they'll tell you on Geico Sports, and I'm sure they'll know exactly how to pronounce the Knicks draft pick's name. I promise you, we have professionals there. Inside, 2-1 to Bruce. See, now we have Dennis D'Agostino with us here tonight as our statistician, and he is a basketball expert. Has been working diligently in the NBA for 40 years, and he just passed me a note, and I thought maybe he'd give me the pronunciation for the next draft pick.
You didn't.
No, he gave me the attendance tonight,
which is
it's 45,967, but that's not really of any consequence. Dennis's roots go back a long way. Fordham, Mets, Knicks. 2-2 to Bruce with d'Arnaud on deck. And Jay lifts one foul and out of play. Cespedes at first and nobody out. 2-2 from Baez, and Bruce fouls off another one. Well, this was a foul ball just a few moments ago off the bat of Bruce. Watch this. Guy goes for the ball, holding the baby, misses the ball, hangs onto the baby. The mom, oh, he got the ball. The mom takes the baby. You are not qualified to hold the baby anymore.
Oh, give me a high five.
And a good changeup by Baez to strike out Bruce for the first out. Some people will do anything for a $5 baseball.
I don't want to be in that house tonight.
Ooh.
He's gonna cut his water off. He's on detention.
So 1 out and 1 on. Here's d'Arnaud, who homered back in the 4th inning, his 8th of the year, 1 for 3 tonight. Dodgers have a left-hander up in the bullpen with Duda due up next. Baez already 24 pitches deep to 3 batters. Remember, he had that long battle with Flores to end the 7th. A 12-pitch at bat before Wilmer grounded out. And Cespedes with the infield hit. Long at bat for Bruce before he struck out. So this might be his last batter. And d'Arnaud pops one up. Might be playable for Barnes. Into the on-deck circle. Can't get to it.
Oh, he's got to get there. Oh, my goodness. His mistake was he just kind of. You got to get to the wall when it's over. It's not an easy play, but you got to get there.
He took one little look at the wall to give himself an idea how much room he had, and then he never got there.
Boy, oh boy, that's a second chance for d'Arnaud.
No error on the play, but another opportunity for d'Arnaud. And that many more pitches that Baez needs to throw. Cespedes at first and 1 out. And that's pulled down to third. Turner with a great backhand stop gets the out at second. They can't turn 2, but an outstanding play by Justin Turner to take an extra base hit away from d'Arnaud and get the force play for the 2nd out.
This was a brutal hop. That is just a terrific play. And then to throw a strike.
Well, Turner keeps driving the dagger in deeper against his old team.
That's a heck of a play right here.
And now Dave Roberts is going to bring in the left-hander to face Duda. So Baez is done after an inning of work and an RBI. He'll take his exit. And the Dodgers will go to the bullpen. We'll be right back. Scully. Of course, they've also named the press box for Vin Scully. And Vin's image is everywhere in this ballpark, and rightly so after 67 fantastic years behind the microphone. As iconic a figure as the Dodgers have ever had.
No doubt.
In his first year of retirement, and we wish Vinny well, whatever he is pursuing right now. Luis Avilan on to pitch for the Dodgers.
Former Brave.
Avilan worked an inning last night, gave up a run-scoring double to Curtis Granderson. Comes in to face Duda with a runner at first and 2 out. Call strike, and this will be a one-batter affair for Avilan because the Dodgers will get Kenley Jansen up in the bullpen. They're not going to mess around with this game. If they need Jansen in the 8th inning, they'll go to him. Reyes is on deck. Jansen has not pitched in this series. And the breaking ball misses to Duda, 1-1. Okay, now Dennis D'Agostino has come through. He's given me the pronunciation of the Knicks draft pick.
Okay.
Frank Ntilikina. And it's spelled just the way it's pronounced. Ntilikina. Ntilikina.
You got it.
Okay. Now that we solved that problem. One and 2 to Duda. And it's in the dirt. Barnes knocks it down. 2-2. So we're the last game standing tonight. It's over in Seattle. The Mariners beat the Tigers 9-6. Robbie Cano, 2 homers, 6 RBIs. That's 5 straight wins for Seattle. They're now over 500. That's with their entire pitching staff on the disabled list. They may have a chance. Felix Hernandez might be back this weekend. Mets will see the Mariners right after the All-Star break. Full count now to Duda. But first trip the Mets make after the break is San Diego, Seattle, Colorado.
Right. Ronnie has San Diego with you. Ronnie goes home. I pick you up in Seattle and Colorado.
Well, of course you have to have Colorado.
Oh my God. 2 of my girls there. Daughters.
Darno gets set to run. 3-2 and 2 down. And Duda takes ball 4, and the Mets will get the tying run to bat. And we might see Jansen right here. Yep, here comes Dave Roberts. He's not going to mess around. So after Avilan comes in and walks the left-hand hitter, the Mets get the tying run to bat, and the Dodger closer is going to come in and look for a 4-out save. 6-3 LA in the 8th. We'll be right back to Dodger Stadium. by People's United Bank. Steven Matz went 6 innings, allowed a couple of home runs, but only 3 hits, struck out 8. Hyunjin Ryu gave up 2 home runs, left with a lead. Mets tied it, but the Dodgers with a 3-run 7th, and now Kenley Jansen having one of the best years any closer has ever had. 50 strikeouts, no walks.
Well, I look at it in terms of 29 2/3 with no walks. That's awesome.
No pitcher in history has ever started a season with 50 strikeouts and no walks.
Cutter, cutter, cutter. He likes to throw that cutter.
Jose Reyes, the batter, and he lines one over third, a foul ball. 0-1. Jose is 1 for 3 tonight at a base hit off the glove of Turner at third base in the second inning. That was batting right-handed. 2 pitchers have had longer streaks of strikeouts without a walk within a season, Curt Schilling, Greg Maddux, but nobody's ever started a year with 50 strikeouts without a walk. And he's 15 for 15 in save opportunities. Reyes bounces one foul. Reyes actually has a hit in his only career at bat against Jansen. The Mets have had a little bit of fortune against Jansen. There was a game that they played here a few years ago where Jansen was so off with his cutter he had to start throwing sliders, which is not his favorite thing to do. He throws his cutter about 92% of the time. But generally he is locked down. 47 saves last year, 36 the year before. Lifetime 2.11 ERA. And Reyes pops one foul. Turner coming over near the barrier but runs out of room. I mean, Jansen has been with the Dodgers since the middle of 2010. He has never had an ERA in any season over 2.85. So no bad years. Doesn't give up many home runs. Doesn't walk hardly anybody. Averages for his career 14 strikeouts per 9 innings.
I'll take him.
29 years old, native of Curacao. Started out as a catcher in the Dodgers organization, but I think he found the right profession.
Position.
1-2 to Reyes. Michael Conforto is out on deck. He'll pinch hit for Cecchini if Reyes can keep the inning going. Darno at second, Duda at first with 2 out. Reyes, who has 2 home runs in this series, the tying run at the plate, and Jansen wants a conversation with Barnes. If you only throw one pitch 92% of the time, what are you conversing about?
I don't know.
You'd have to be a fly on the wall. You can't even learn by reading lips anymore since everybody covers their mouths with
well,
their
they
gloves.
know because of television. You know, with the close-ups.
It's always our fault. The outfield very shallow and toward left against Reyes. 1-2 coming, and the breaking ball foul back, so he did go to his secondary pitch.
Yeah, he did,
which he almost never does. And Reyes able to waste it away. I guess that's what the conversation was about. Would he do it again?
No. He'll go to his bread and butter.
Now the 1-2. Grounded slowly. Bellinger ranging wide. He bobbles in, and everybody's safe. Bellinger, who's been such a whiz with the glove this entire series, botches a routine grounder, and the Mets have loaded the bases. And Michael Conforto will come up to pinch hit.
Wow. I think he just took. Look at him come aggressively over. Got the force at second. Everything right. He just didn't execute.
You think
the ball.
He was sneaking a peek at the base runner Duda to see whether he had a play?
He knew he had a play. He just rushed it, Gare. He just rushed it.
So the Mets get an opening. The tying run's now on base with 2 out in the 8th. And Conforto will bat for Cecchini. Michael sitting for the 2nd straight night. He pinch hit last night, hit into a fielder's choice. He's gone 0 for 8 in this series. But a chance to do some major damage here. Darno at third, Duda at second, Reyes at first with 2 out. And Michael pops it up. Barnes should be able to handle this one. And that retires the side. Mets get an opportunity in the 8th, but they leave him loaded. Jansen looking for the 4-out save, gets the first one. 6-3 LA. The 6-3 lead. It's been a Murphy's Law kind of a series for the Mets. T.J. Rivera will take over at second base. Tonight they have seen Jerry Blevins walk 3 straight batters to force in 2 runs. They've given up 15 home runs in this series, more than they ever have before. The Met hitters have gone 1 for 8 tonight with runners in scoring position and 2 for 26 in this series. And so the beat goes on. Jock Peterson, who gave the Dodgers the lead with a first pitch home run against Paul Sewald in the 7th, will lead off in the 8th against Fernando Salas, who came in to get the final out in the 7th after Blevins couldn't throw a strike. And Peterson takes a first pitch slider for ball 1. Logan Forsythe on deck, then Corey Seager for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 8th. After Kenley Jansen put down a Mets threat in the top of the inning, and he'll be around for the 9th as well. Off speed pitch, lined to right, a base hit for Peterson. He's 2 for 2 off the bench tonight. So the Dodgers get the leadoff man on in the 8th. That is only LA's 6th hit of the night. So Peterson aboard, and now Logan Forsythe, who's 1 for 3 and a walk tonight. I suppose he'd be asked to bunt, would you?
Not with a 3-run lead. No way. Let him rip. Leadoff hitter. Play for a big inning. 1-run game, maybe.
And Salas throws a fastball for a strike. Well, the Mets had their chance against Jansen after the Bellinger error in the top of the inning. Conforto going after the first pitch he saw, fouling out. Addison Reed getting up in the Mets bullpen. If you're wondering why, it's for the same reason that we saw Blevins here tonight. They were both going to pitch no matter what, because neither one of them had pitched in this series. And we saw the effect on Blevins of not having pitched in 5 days. And you certainly don't want those guys to sit for too long. So I would imagine that Reed will get at least a batter here in the 8th inning once he's ready to go. And Forsythe down on strikes for the first out. You know, I'm thinking the only problem with that is you're kind of betting against yourself. Because what happens if you tie the game in the 9th and you've already used Reed and then you have to pinch hit for him?
Well, he's not in.
Yeah.
For that reason. And
well, maybe they're just going to have him warm up hard in the bullpen and not bring him in the game. We'll see. There's Chase Bradford, by the way, was just called up today. Bradford, who's yet to make his major league debut, and he's going to do some throwing as well. That sent Tyler Pill, last night's starter, back to Vegas, and Bradford was called up. Here's Corey Seager up for the first time tonight. Seager was sitting when the night began, came in late for defense. 7 hits and 13 at bats in this series, including his 3 home run game night before last. Peterson at first and 1 out. And Seager takes the off-speed pitch very high, 2-0. Justin Turner on deck. And the changeup in for a strike, 2-1. Mets have not been swept in a 4-game series by the Dodgers since 1979, which was a dark period in Mets history.
Yes, it was.
This has merely been a dark couple of months.
79 was a very bright period for me.
Well, for you, you won the MVP that year, but you were not part of the Mets-Dodgers series. You were plying your trade on AstroTurf in 140-degree temperatures.
It was when it was 100 degrees in St. Louis on a Sunday day game. The turf was reflective at 135.
Seager fouls it off, 3-2.
They put a thermometer on the field and by our dugout, and it was 135 when it was like 98 or 99 and 100. It was, and you'd go out there and the cutouts around the bases, the metal spikes would brand my bottoms of my feet.
I mean, the other day it was 120 in Phoenix and planes couldn't take off. And you're telling me it was 135 on the field and you played baseball?
Yes, we did. I saw Reggie Smith out in right field. I saw his rubber cleats melt, and he was like he stepped on gum. He was like trying to move, lifting his feet. I had to call timeout.
Thank God the abomination that is artificial turf is just about out of the game.
It's just Toronto now and
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There goes the runner. Seager pops it up. That'll come back out of play. So Peterson was on the move. Now tomorrow night we move up the coast to San Francisco. Seth Lugo makes the start for the Mets. Mets and Giants at AT&T Park. Our coverage begins at 9 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. 3-game series with the Giants, who got beat 12-11 tonight in Atlanta after a long rain delay, so they'll fly a long way home.
They are reeling.
They've lost 11 of 13 after that loss tonight. About the only glimmer of good news for the Giants right now. There goes Peterson. Seager strikes out. Darno's throw, and it's a strike him out, throw him out double play. The only glimmer is Madison Bumgarner is going to make his first rehab start over the weekend. Strike him out, throw him out double play ends the bottom of the 8th. We go to the 9th. 6-3 LA. All right, guys, ninth inning. Rene Rivera, last man on the Mets bench, pinch hits against Kenley Jansen. And the first pitch cutter in for a strike. Jansen came in, survived an error, got a bases loaded pop up from Conforto to end the eighth, and now looking for his 16th save of the year. And Rene swings and misses at the cutter. Rene started on Tuesday night, went 1 for 2 and was hit by a pitch. Also got hit in the knee twice by foul balls, one off his bat and one on a pitch. Curtis Granderson on deck, then Wilmer Flores in the ninth. And Rene socks one to deep left field, down the line, headed toward the corner. It's out of here.
Oh, it's foul.
Oh, it was foul. My bad.
Late call.
My bad.
It's an odd angle here. You know that, Garrett?
Clearly foul. So Rene will come back to the plate with a 0-2 count. Sometimes you got to put him back in the bottle.
I feel like that Star Trek episode when he had Nomad, the machine, the Doomsday Machine, and Captain Kirk said they got him where he goes, "You are imperfect."
Oh,
So you was your Nomad imitation there.
It's because we're all human, Keith. You know that.
Yes.
It's the human condition, imperfection. 1-2 from Jansen, and Rene hits this one in the air to left. Playable for Hernandez. 1 out.
Number 3, Curtis Granderson.
So 1 away now. Granderson, who had a home run to lead off the night for the second straight night. He's also doubled and walked, 2 for 3. And Granderson fouls one off. Here's your Verizon Mets box score. Granderson and d'Arnaud with home runs. Duda with an RBI double. But the Mets have gone 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position tonight. 2 for 26 with runners in scoring position in this series. Curtis pops one up. Easy for Seager. 2 out. And so the Mets are down to their final out of this series. Kenley Jansen, looking for the 4-out save, has gotten the first 3. And now faces Wilmer Flores, who's gone 0 for 4 tonight, 1 for 13 in this series. And Wilmer takes a strike, 0-1. Slider from Jansen off the plate. So the second breaking ball he's thrown tonight. Threw under Reyes in the last inning. One to Wilmer, and he lines that to left. Hernandez comes in, dives, makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Kenley Jansen gets the 4-out save. The Mets say, wait a second, we might want to review this play, so the game might not be over after all. Kike waves it away and says, I caught it, I know I did. And it certainly appears that he did. And the Mets are not going to challenge that. And so the Dodgers complete a 4-game sweep their first 4-game sweep of the Mets since 1979 as they hit a franchise record 15 home runs in the series. The Mets give up a franchise record 15 home runs in the series, and the Mets fall 10 games below 500 for the first time this year and will limp their way up the coast to San Francisco after getting swept in LA 6-3 the final tonight.
Well, they were overpowered by this Dodger ball club, the offense. And there's the plat, and it was a clear catch here. Nice play by Kiki Hernandez. They were out. They were bludgeoned to death. This game was a little tighter. The bottom of the 7th with the 2 walked-in runs by Jerry Blevins was just, you never would have dreamed that would have happened. And Sewald gets the loss.